Welcome to Buff Brain Sportscast, Season 2, Episode 15, Week 14 of the NFL. Tonight we are here on Monday night for some football. We got a doubleheader. Titans versus the Dolphins, and we got the Packers versus the Giants. Okay, this one's going to be titled, What If It All Being Fake Is True? We're going to riff on that in and out through all of the football talk here. This is, if you're new here, check us out, bigbrainuniversity.com. This isn't going to be a normal sportscast. This is, we're pointing out how these games are basically WWE with a football. So, that kind of being the premise, we are here with Timmy's back in house. Last episode was pretty great. I enjoyed it again. My issue is I always run out of stuff when I'm able to hear our cast. I don't listen to it so much like it's, I'm listening to myself. I just listen to it like this is information. This is a new podcast that I'm listening to. I'm always bummed when it's over because then I don't have a lot of other stuff that's just on the same level that it's like that I can just trust that the people delivering and presenting the information are coming from a certain foundation of information where it's like I can kind of trust their judgment, their input. So yeah, I'm always a little sad when it's over. I know it looks like, 3.5 hour podcast or 3 hour cast. It's like, you spend that much time in the car probably commuting. So it's like, we just solved the problem of the radio sucking and having to listen to ads and all of this crap. So, yeah, for those of you new here, you can join the Discord. Kev gives out one free pick for any football gamblers out there. This season's been a bit rough on the gambling. Like, again, if you're new here, you're really kind of not in the loop of, up to date on what's going on as far as what we're talking about. We'd have to recap everything every time we talk about it. But I suppose that, in a nutshell, is kind of the gist of where we're going to go tonight. For the games here, I will throw out my picks on them. I took the Dolphins to win, not to cover the spread, and the game will be under the total. For the Packers, Giants, we're going to have the Packers are going to win. So that will mean they will cover that spread because it's what? They're not even supposed to win the game, basically. Yeah. And this game will also be the under. So, not really going to break down any details on why. Again, if you're new here, I already cashed out my chips mid-season, basically, because of the Taylor Swift effect. Again, I'm not gonna go and explain. We're so far in now, Kev. It's like any newbies, like they're gonna have to catch up a little bit. But it'll still be enjoyable regardless.
You don't have to catch up on Taylor Swift because she's out there. She is present, and she's not going anywhere. So, doubleheader, Monday Night Football. I went push on my Discord pick, Vikings -3.
It's a good pick.
It was a very good pick. And anybody who watched that game, how do you watch with your eyes open? Because that was a 0-0 game all the way down to about 1:30 left. And the Vikings got up there. And the gambling gods said, and Taylor Swift, she goes, that cat, he deserves a punishment. And they said, we're going to give him a push. So what happened was the score ended 3-0. Vikings won. The spread was -3. It was a push. So not only have I dropped a couple of games in a row, I got pushed on the game. No money, no win, no loss, but it feels like a defeat. 3-0. It was It was, I don't know. It was just a buzzkill game. And that's the whole entire season. The Kansas City Chiefs got robbed of their game. But nobody blinks an eye at that. They're like, well, it's just Chiefs get what they deserve. The Chiefs went 7 straight weeks getting handed the games by the refs. And this one was just everybody saw it. Nobody cares. It's all the refs' fault. That play was no reason for there to be a flag. They did it with the intention of manipulating the outcome. There's no other way to explain that. But then you've got the Chiefs on the sideline throwing a tantrum. Patrick Mahomes throwing his helmet down like it's his end of his career. Oh my God, we're still going to go to the Super Bowl, but I got to pretend, act like I'm not in on it, and the refs aren't in on it. Oh no, actually it is the refs to blame. When there's hundreds of millions of dollars, or what, tens of millions, or whatever amount, shifted. Because the Chiefs were heavily bet on. Why not? They're at home. I didn't know if Taylor was there or not. I didn't watch the game. And then, that's what happened. So today, everybody just forgot. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Move on to next week. Because what's going on with the NFL, they're fucking with us. They're making every team get one by the refs calling a play that reverse the game. Okay.
Yeah.
When you have 32 teams and you cut it in half, you piss off 16 of them, but then you give it back to the 16 that got a taste of it.
Yes, sir.
Now you take it away, but now the Chiefs are in a position where they got Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they're not putting this formulated reality of this whole thing based off of all this little fucking thing, and people are getting hypnotized into this. It's just what we expect from now on. If it doesn't happen, there's something wrong, and this is where the rubber meets the road with gambling. I'm going to tell you, all sports bettors, the history of gambling on sports with these spreads, it's 50-50 split. It's always been Green Bay Packers have the most wins, but they've only, they're 51.5% wins in 40, over the history of 105 years of football or whatever the number is. Mm-hmm. Now you factor all that into it. You can't win at this. It's a science that can't be broken, because this last year has changed everything when it comes to this. You want to make a living gambling on sports? Shit, man, you could have all the inside information, but you ain't going to win. You can't hit 100%. You hit 50% luckily. This season, I'm at 35%, if that. And that's one game. So some people be like, well, last season was last season. 9-1 or whatever the stat was. We started at week 4 and that's whatever. But the point is, there's a lot of goofy, manipulating stuff that's going on that is being accepted as that's the normal when there's so much money being shifted that people don't realize this DraftKings is completely sunk any probability of picking the right side anymore, because at what point do you know if the NFL is going to give the Cowboys, for example, they were so heavily bet on that game, but then you know what, they got all the money from the Chiefs game to lay it off to, and that had me fucking confused, because I'm like, no way the public wins this big of a game, and they won. The public got their money fucking handed to them. But after all the parlays, teasers, and all the sucker bets lost, all they had was hope on that one game. And the NFL said, hey, here's a bone back, but we going to get that back in the playoffs. Next time the Eagles and the Cowboys play, it's fucking game over. We are going to fucking make this thing so impossible to pick consistent winners. And what I mean consistent, you hit 60% in the NFL at this rate, you're actually doing a pretty phenomenal job. And if you pick over 100 games, example, I did one game a week, and that's tough enough. Yeah. And it's what to the point last year was simple, because the public was not winning on Monday nights. The Monday night football game was always for the bookies to get their money back, because the public would be so heavily on one side in prayer to get their money back. Now the NFL switching things up. The NFL, ESPN, and all this gambling has merged together, and it's created a script for us to try to figure out. But in the end, it's all about the money. You can't fucking do it with it's becoming so. I'm happy for this season to come to an end. 3 more Mondays. We ain't doing the playoffs for picks, but to see how this season will be a learning experience going forward. Is this going to be the WWE forever and we can't figure it out?
Well,
and that's my rant on that.
To augment on that, and again, if you're new here,
We're trying to expose
to keep your interest here, yeah, we could use some help, quite honestly, in the pattern recognition. I won't go into all the details, but I mean, in general, that's why we are even broadcasting information in the first place. Is the more ears and eyes and minds that we can get on thinking on these subjects, the more truth we're going to learn about them. So, to comment on all this betting now in society. Now, do you know pre all this betting, which was pre-COVID, in the world of rodeo, do you know that there was I know you can bet on horse racing, and I would imagine that people bet on, which rodeo rider was gonna win possibly, or maybe which team. Anyway, perhaps you don't. Perhaps somebody does out there. But I learned just recently there was a rodeo in town here, and it was like a 3-day event or something. But what I learned was that you could bet on, they call it like a Calcutta.
Calcutta.
Yeah. And so that's like some betting term that you can bet on who's going to win. Like what team is going to win the rodeo. So I'm like, what? I need to know more history of it because it's probably been in place for a while. But it's just like now every single thing. Like I was maybe going to go to the rodeo to like spend some time with my family, just like, do that. And I ended up not going because of other reasons, but one, I didn't want to sit on those fucking bleachers like until my back is like fully healed. It's just very uncomfortable to sit on bleachers and shit. So anyway,
thank you, education system, you fucks.
Yeah,
that's another thing, but we'll get into that.
Yeah,
we've already been down that road. But go on.
Not to segue,
go on.
But I mean that's really kind of all I had to say on it. But it was like I couldn't have even gone out for just a night with my family without having like gambling. And I guess you can sponsor riders too, so you can like put money and they call it sponsoring or something. So not only can you sponsor them, but you can do this Calcutta thing too. And it's like, dude, my head's like fucking spinning. I can't get away from gambling no matter where I go.
And gambling was so, unless it was state run, like Christ, you could go to prison before all this chaos.
Add on to that gambling and like subscriptions for hobbies. So like absolutely everything seems to be in this form of like a subscription service, or now ESPN Bet, DraftKings,
everything,
Barstool. I mean, people are such fans of Barstool too because what did Barstool do? They normalized it. They were one of the biggest things normalizing it. And now it's we look back.
And they attracted the same age bracket as the Swifties.
Exactly.
So you got the Swifties as the Swifties.
So the people who don't like Swiftie.
No.
You got like pizza. Everybody likes pizza and food.
They go hand in hand together. It was a merger. But all they did was add gambling to it. And you know what? It may sound innocent when it comes to this gambling, but it is for entertainment. It's not to get rich, and it's not to it's for entertainment. It's to add value. If you think you have a better edge, you're great. You're going to be on the right side.
It is to make it more interesting.
But anything with
anybody could say that. I was just watching a movie, not just to interject here for a moment. I was just watching a movie. It's called Bag of Hammers. I think it was 2011. Actually, a good flick. I can't remember the name of the actor in it, but I would note the name if I remembered it because I have enjoyed most of the movies he's in. Anyway,
so you have this young generation, and I'm saying the gambling. Entertainment is what you're going to spend on a movie theater. That's gambling entertainment, $10-$20. People do that at bars. It's from the history of gambling. There's always been gambling.
Yeah.
But now when you have it, now it's effortlessly. You can do it from a couch. You can do it from a beach. You can do it from an airplane. You can do it from the inside of a sports stadium while the fucking game's going on. The spreads all over the place. there's this wave of this gambling, and when people bet with their hearts, like I'm gonna take the Vikings every game this year, you're fucking gonna lose because you're not gonna win. You could take the Patriot or the Chiefs. I'm gonna take the Chiefs every game, and you're still not gonna come out ahead because nothing is perfect anymore. It used to be teams were like 14-0 at this point. All these teams have 3, 4 losses, 5 losses.
Well, to add to that, what the movie was saying was they were sitting down in the backyard playing chess, and this little kid, the neighbor, walks up. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" He's like, "We're playing chess," and he's like, the conversation gets to, well, they're playing for something, like the game. There's stakes involved, right? They're gambling something, they're risking something, and the lesson to the kid was like, the game's it's not as much fun if there's no risk. So it's like they're putting out this mentality, I just wanted to note on the conditioning atmosphere through the movies, where it's like they've conditioned this whole thing, and also the fear of missing out goes on it too.
Yeah. It's all for
having making the entertainment more interesting,
but people get
more
mad
addictive because then you get that blood pumping, and you don't get the blood pumping as much when there isn't something on the line, and I think that's what a lot of people get addicted to.
Because that's the people don't give a fuck about winning. They love to start losing and come back and somehow magically pick the games right, and now they're a genius. And next week they figure out why the fuck did the Cowboys lose? Well, because motherfucking everybody gambled, everybody bet on them. This week was wrong. It was the complete opposite.
What happened?
But
the Dolphins just had we missed it. Sorry, the Dolphins just had the ball like they were gonna score.
So when you have these young generation all gambling, it's $15, $20, $30. Some of these kids are betting hundreds of dollars on the over/under on rushing yards on a player that they have no control over, except hopefully that player doesn't get pulled in the second half. Hopefully that player doesn't go down with 1 yard, and then it looks like it's rigged. Of course it looks like it's rigged because it is rigged. But people don't want. But the younger generation are more risky. Just like if you told kids, hey, the old generation is over. They're not gambling. They're not gambling anymore. They don't like fucking fantasy. They don't like the commercialization. They just want to bet with a fucking buddy $10, and that feels like $1 million. That's your influence. And
that's that college atmosphere.
That's gambling. That's entertainment.
What they want. Yeah.
But these people are taking it to another level. They're putting these parlays together that are astronomical. You ain't gonna win them. But think about that. Somebody starts out.
Parlay.
They lose. Here's how it goes. You lose, win, and that's all it takes. Or you do this. It goes win, lose. You're hooked because either way, you gotta fucking soul suck. The casinos, blackjack, all of them. You could tell the college kids these days, hey, casinos are there to get your money. This shit is there to get your money. This is nowhere what it was before all this. The fucking flags, all this corrupt shit, because it's protecting a league that has a legal right to manipulate, fix, rig, any possible way to make it look on the up and up. But now we got 80 million plus viewers all watching this. But you got the younger generation that says, well, that's just part of the game, like WWE. It's another generation, and Swift involved, and gambling, and it's advertised. It's becoming a problem that the country hasn't seen yet. Give this shit 2 more years, and there's going to be stories about this that will go on for years about how this whole thing corrupted, and it buried people. People are taking out loans to pay, because the old days you could go to a bookie.
And then the Dolphins get it back in an amazing another flip-flopperoo play. Oh my God. If we could rewind, that would be worth rewinding.
They'll show the replay 100 times. Now, that's the thing. Now it's all tracked. You got credit cards. You got banking shit going on. The wife's mad. Gambling addiction. It's becoming a problem, and it's a household name. So, I don't know. They don't bring blackjack tables to my house. You can fucking effortlessly just gamble on the apps for sports betting. So,
you look at this. Watch this one. Boom!
See? No flag.
Oh, man.
So that's my take on that. It's just it's consuming people's lives.
Yeah, you hit like such a nail on the head there. Like, the problems that this is producing are not going to manifest themselves until a few years down the road, and then it's fuck, man. because I got a strange feeling that like there's gonna be another surge of some sort of narrative that maybe it's another COVID type narrative where they try to lock things down again, or maybe it's a war type narrative or the housing market, like something. All of these little things are going to synergize, and like all of the money that people are losing from all these fucking betting games, because it's not just like, oh, they're randomly losing. It's like, this is supercomputer
This is mathematically
type of shit.
This is
where
now,
it's like Kev was saying earlier, it's calculating where it's going to take money and where it's going to give it back.
It can't.
And
it's
it's
like a
doing
slot
all
machine.
that.
It's a slot machine, but in real time. But it's weekly. It ain't daily.
Right.
It's a weekly. That's why NBA nobody gives a fuck, because NBA's every day. We get tired of that. This NFL it's a script. It's to suck you in, and you can try to fuck it. The system is designed to. You can't win in the long term at this. If you do this for 2 straight years at a pattern where you're on they're gonna know, like, you are not. You're not gonna. They know the algorithms, exactly what type of player is going to pick, exactly what this point spread going to be. They know exactly. It's AI overtook it all. And here we are in real life. And people still don't believe that there's something going on.
Well, it's like the AI has like how much money it's calculating how much potential money it can make by trying to
by the halftime.
Like Kev said, by basically dopamine drip them back into betting, and it knows when they bought their last pair of socks and how long it will be before they need to buy more socks. So it will be able to calculate how many funds will be available based on that person's income and taxes and all that. Like, the supercomputer knows, like, all of that data is available to this supercomputer.
But this sports is
and it's considering all of it, and it's using sports here and sports gambling to I mean, for lack of a better word, to milk the public and hypnotize and
because
all sorts of words work there.
This gambling came along, and now everything is based off of money. Okay, well, the money's all on this side. How are the sports books able to stay open? Well, they're going to give that away and take it from 2 other games. Like, they have this chess board, and you can't win it. It's like playing in a poker tournament and knowing all the hold cards.
Yeah.
And knowing that, hey, your pocket aces are going to get beat, so I should fold. Well, I'm just going to get it back the next hand.
And it's like...
And that's an extreme example, but that's like... It's almost like they have the fucking almanac for this shit. They know. Yeah. But nobody else knows. And if somebody, here's how they know that. If somebody hits 100% on one of the sites, imagine that. You hit 20 in a row on this football, they get flagged. They're like, we got to find out who you are, because it's impossible.
Yeah, right.
It's impossible to even do 5 in a row.
Yeah.
But if you do your algorithm, it's like cheating in poker. If I had the system to read the hold cards, do you know how tough that would be to outsmart the algorithm to make it look like I'm not cheating? You have to lose this bullshit up here, and then they would find out, well, who do you know that has a playbook? Now you're dead. So it's like, that's what somebody said. Well, Kev, if you had a fixed game, wouldn't you just want to just win all the time? I'm like, I don't want any part of that, because first of all, we don't know. But if you knew, what are you going to do with the information? Get flagged eventually, and they're going to find out the information got out by some ex-NFL player that said, hey, this is the shit, and they don't want to come clean. That would be an example. So as you can see, we have a season of, we got Taylor Swift, we got all these key teams involved, and the money is going to shift one way or another. And sure, shit ain't going to go to the public. The public is not going to win this year in gambling. I talked to somebody that worked down in Vegas, and they said the sports books are loving this fucking legal gambling, because the fucking public, the guys that study it for a living, statisticians, experts, odds makers, they put the number out there. They know the exact number to put out to fucking make it. It's a lose-lose. So that's my take on, if people are like, well, you've lost X amount in a row. Well, no shit. It's like, I can't use what I used last year, because it's all changed. Time changed. And they're letting teams in here that could still go to the playoffs. That maybe we don't know the script, but they did say at the beginning, wait till the end of this script season. This is going to blow everybody's mind away. Well, fuck it. Here we are.
Here's another 48-yarder. It's out, man. he's gonna miss. How are these? You want to tell your story about the kicker, because this is a good time. That Green Bay just 48-yard field, or what? Sorry, was it the Giants? Was
The
it Green?
Giants were kicking.
Giants were kicking.
It was so far. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no winds. I mean, the ball didn't really move that. Actually, that was definitely manipulated. The field goals. If you're new here, you haven't heard this before. The field goals. They're using remote ball control technology, remote object control technology. It's probably like electromagnetism manipulation of the electromagnetic spectrum. That would be my guess. I would guess that there's technology that you can just make things levitate. I don't want to get into the details of it. I'm pretty sure you can manipulate the electromagnetic spectrum. They have free energy machines, all sorts of shit like that underground. It's probably been here for a long time, and we'll probably never know the truth of that until we pass on into the ether, and then maybe you have some options for what'll happen, but.
Every game has a missed field goal or two.
Kev was talking to one of his buddies up at the SDSU game, and he told him that this was last weekend, and last weekend the wind around here was like 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. It was windy, so they're kicking field goals in this wind, and he's at the game, and Kev's talking to him. And he's verifying, like, dude, I saw their kicker, started at the 20-yard line, ended up going back to the 40, kicking 40 and 50-yard field goals, made like 20 in a row with a 40-mile-an-hour tailwind. Now, when he turned around and started kicking into the wind, that's a totally different story. You're like, you got like a 25-yard field goal range then, otherwise the ball's just not getting to the uprights. So at that point you could definitely see a ball like curving and stopping and doing some funky stuff, but these guys, they're playing in a situation where there's no wind. Now you're telling me that a kicker from SDSU College can go 20 for 20 from like 50 yards with a 40-mile-an-hour tailwind like it's fucking nothing, like he's warming up. Mm-hmm. And these guys in the NFL, these pro kickers, can't go a full game without fucking missing a field goal.
They can't go a quarter.
It's like every game there's a missed field goal by one of the kickers.
Every game.
I don't know all the stats on that, but next year I'll probably dial in all those stats a little more.
Like I said, I don't see this kind of chaos last year.
I think next year is going to be an interesting year because they know I'm onto them now. They know a lot of people are on.
As long as Taylor gives us our football back, I'll be on board for next year. But if her and Mahomes buy the Chiefs and call the Swifties, I'm like,
I think it's going to get worse, Kev. They're going to bring in more pop stars, I think. Because they're gonna start doing this like NFL wives drama. I'm seeing that alternative narrative with Simone Biles of the Green Bay Packer husband or whatever. It's always right because
NFL wives.
They gotta have some drama for the new Swifties. We've talked about this before, so you know what better kind of drama than relationship type drama or woman rivalry drama like cat fights, right? Having a cat fight at a high profile cat fight. Oh my God, they're gonna bank on that. They're gonna build the narrative off this. So next year, what you're gonna see is we're gonna see more of this. It's gonna become more widespread because that's what they want to normalize. I think that's what they're installing with this play, with playing the Taylor Swift card right now. They're going to generate all this new viewership to the NFL, and like those people, Swifties don't really like the NFL. Maybe a lot of them kind of did before, but for the new ones that they're trying to bring in, how do they keep them there? They got to have Swiftie drama. How do they do that? Wives of the NFL Club. How do they do it? They start to do it just a little bit at a time. Like that's what I'm predicting. We're going to see more and more of that.
No matter what she does, there's a billion attached to it.
Yeah.
Whether it's people and money, both. So that's the future. And that's what it is, man.
I don't think she's going to go away. It's not going to be that easy.
She's on People magazine, the most influential person in the world. Really? Influential. The only thing she done to me is ruin my football season. How influential is that? I want her gone. And when I mean gone, I don't mean like in a mean way. I'm like, just get out of my football.
That's a good way to put that.
And they want to continue with this narrative, and I can't avoid it. Does that make sense? I can't avoid it unless I just shut it off. But then it's like, well, I got to know what happens, you know? Like, they got me so sucked into this, and I can't get out of it. They do some hypnotism shit, and it's got me quoted.
She was quoted, I don't care how many dads, Brads, and Chads I upset because they show me too often during the football game. Something to that effect. She's like, I don't care.
Like, she don't give a fuck about
Brads, dads, and Chads. Like, why do you got to say it that way?
Yeah, are those the fanboy names? Is that like the top 5 fanboy names for football?
Right. That like only the people that are sick of seeing you are dads, Brads, and Chads. I don't even know what a Brad is.
Oh, Taylor.
Wow, look at that play. That's kind of cool. He's like all outstretched. I think he got it. It was just an interesting play of athleticism here. Look at this little outstretch. First down. Give it to the man.
Kick. There you got it.
Yeah, I'd give that to him.
It's too early to rig the game.
Yeah,
they got that play for the last play of the game. That would be the end of the game right there. Oh, and they called it. And they would say, well, he wasn't in. And we'd all look at it and be like, did you just see it? And they'd be like, oh, well, next week. Like, this shit is ridiculous. That's why I don't know what to think anymore about this.
We got some WWE Raw on the...
You got some real shit going on there.
Another television.
Yes. What you gonna do? When her
They're about to have... Speaking of cat fights, we're about to see a cat fight.
What you gonna do when her 42 double D's hit you in the face?
This, like, WWE is actually... I'm developing a new appreciation for it because it's like... You know it's scripted. Like, the script writers are actually... like good enough to where it's like watch a football game. The script writers of that shit suck.
It's just not a 60-minute match. It's a fucking 10.
You get what was it? 3-0. You get fucking 2 seconds of excitement.
The last kick of the game.
90 minutes of commercials for 2 seconds of excitement and
all in Taylor Swift and DraftKings. Gamble. $5 gets you $150,000 million in credit.
What I'm seeing, like, this
you
is way better.
You just gotta pick a 500-team parlay.
Like, the first time they tried this move, they messed it up. Like, you couldn't script that. But they tried it again.
No. It's all suspect, man. Flags. And I don't know.
Like, I love the WWE, dude. This is way better.
It's bigger business than the NFL. Yeah. Imagine that. It's not... It's just entertainment. Same thing as NFL. Yeah. But NFL gets some sort of like knee-jerk reaction, like, oh, there's no way the quarterback's in on it. Those players make too much money, all the excuses as to why it's not. All the excuses, and it's almost like you can't even explain it to them because they don't want to believe it.
One part of our last cast that was hilarious was when we started watching the wrestling. Or we were watching football, I can't remember which, but we were commentating like it was wrestling, like we were watching the opposite thing. That was actually pretty entertaining. Green Bay Packers just scored down there, so both games are, I'm going to choose my words carefully here, are a similar script.
7-0, 7-0.
I could be on the NFL. I could be an NFL announcer.
Right at the last 28, right in the last 30 seconds, both the touch, or no.
Well, the score is the same.
Yeah, same.
Like both within the last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
You know that San Francisco 49ers played yesterday, and they
Did they?
they won.
Did they win?
They won.
They beat Seattle. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
They beat them. They didn't cover the spread, but they won by 12. Spread was 14.5.
Okay.
So with that being said, the Niners scored 7, 7, 7, 7, and 7 in all 4 quarters.
Really?
28-18.
That's
Or 28-16 was the final score in that game. The over-under was 45.5, and it landed like right on 45. And I'm like, what the fuck? Half pointed for people that had taken the over. So, yeah. The 49ers, man, they looking like they're going to be the team in the... That's what everybody... The Cowboys is another one. We got a goofy NFL season. I haven't seen where you got 8 teams in contention, basically. And we got 3 weeks left, so they could be 12 teams in contention next week. I don't know. We don't know.
It'll be something
The
like that.
Bears beat the Bears won. The Jets won, I believe. Jets, Jets. And see, there's these teams that are 5 wins are still in contention.
Yeah.
We don't know what the end's going to be, but Niners, fucking man, what a powerhouse they looking. And they're not covering, but Jesus,
Close enough.
12 points, man. That's double-digit favorites are very tough this season.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting one. Basically, we predicted this kind of exact thing happening. They were going to keep all of the teams really kind of tight, where like it's going to come down to what a coin toss on a lot of these teams, if they make it or not, or if they're contenders or not, because
Wild
it's
card,
so tight this year.
Wild card.
Or
And you
wild
know
cards,
why?
Yeah.
Because of the gambling. That's why you can't be consistent on these winners. You would have to pick opposite. You would have to know exactly how if you know how the schedule is going to end. We don't. But I haven't seen a season where there was so many teams with 3 losses, meaning you always had like one team was 15-1, 15-0, with 2 games left.
Right.
And
Big dominant
there was a lot of focus on that.
Yeah.
Now
there was.
Now
big
it's
time.
like, but look at that. Half the league is in contention. Used to be half the league was out of the contention, and we were just worried about the wild cards. Like right now, we would be just. And they added one more week to the season. Why would they do that? More gambling. When it comes down to it, the coin flips. I don't know about you, but if I'm gonna charge you 10% every coin flip you get wrong. So we're gonna bet $100 a coin flip, and for every time you flip wrong, I'm gonna charge you $110. How many fucking times you gotta win to catch up? It's never gonna happen. Coin flipping, it's not gonna work in this.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
And you can use all the stats and analysis and last week was this. I mean, the Chiefs losing at home with a very bad call. It's just part of it, man.
Stats
they don't
work
want the
anymore.
Chiefs dominating. They want the Chiefs to lose when it's the most.
That was kind of last season too, wasn't it? Like the Chiefs weren't really like dominant, but they were pretty good. And then it was like
the Kelsey brothers playing.
Yeah, the only dominant team last year was the Eagles, and I think the Niners
they
did
lost like
pretty
2
well
games
too, but
last year, and this year they've lost 2. They're the winningest team with less losses. That's unheard of. They only have one team like that. Usually you would have about 5 and back in the Tampa Bay New England Patriots when Brady was playing for all them years.
I think
they went 17-0 or whatever. Yeah, 17-0, then lost the Super Bowl obviously.
Yeah.
But they were like every season there was always a team that was like 15-0 going into the 16. Now this shit is so we don't know. So you are correct. This thing is a crapshoot, man.
Yeah, this is a show. This is a WWE wrestling match. And honestly, the WWE matches are probably a little easier to predict who's going to win because the narratives there are pretty well established.
But you have 32 matches going on, or 16 matches going on, and we only just see the key ones.
Right.
Well, you see what the shit that goes on the key ones. What do you think goes on the outside when nobody the game's watching? More corrupt shit. Yeah. Because the less eyes have on it, the more you can control it because it's not going to get out to the world. Yeah. But if you put it, 60, 80 million people watching this. Why do you think they're going to put the Super Bowl on the up and up? They always do that. I didn't think last year they didn't throw a flag until like fucking halftime. I mean, it was one of those. Remember, I remember saying they threw flags all last season in the first like minute and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't they throw any in the Super Bowl?
The season before that too.
Because they didn't need to throw it because they knew what to
flag
do.
heavy.
They didn't need to do the penalties because the players have been practicing for 2.5 weeks on the whole script. So they knew what was going to happen. Kelsey brothers, fucking, and people say, well, that's just a coincidence. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh no.
And why do we have a Swift on the Eagles and that guy's another name? Every time I see Swift, I'm like, well, where's Taylor? No, wait, that's not the Taylor, that's the Swift. And she got her own jersey, so.
Right. Yeah,
that's what it is. Unfortunate. I didn't realize until about week 4, and I'm like, I'm in trouble with picks this year just because I just said Taylor Swift got something going on.
Yeah.
She has a chessboard and it's just fucking checkmate on me. She ain't checkmated me yet, but she's checkmating. She keeps checkmate, and I'm like, God damn it, what's my next move? She knows. She's gonna fucking pin me in the corner, and I gotta get out of it. I gotta move one of my fucking poor little pawns. Fucking go get me the queen. I need 3 queens against Taylor. She gonna take me out one at a time. My chessboard's gone.
Taylor.
I am on type highlighter, dangling there, just trying to wait. When is the wind gonna blow and tip it all over?
Yeah.
But it's what it is. Hopefully people see the same shit, man. We've been talking about this.
It's pretty darn hard not to see it. I guess it's a good time to talk a little bit about that. Maybe the hypnotism, there's something real to this hypnotism that's like keeping people under an actual spell. Like there's like witchcraft in the world and magic, and it's fucking real. And it's like, the Super Bowl and like all of these arenas and shit, they're like energy centers, basically, like conduits. I obviously can't prove this, but it's like, I think that there's probably under every major stadium, there's probably a path to a connection to the underground. I would guess that's how they get some of the players there.
Yeah, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck down there too.
Some of the coaches probably travel that way. Taylor Swift probably travels that way. Anyone that's cloned probably has access to because where are they're gonna fucking send them in an Uber, a Lyft, they're not gonna have black Mercedes for all these people.
They say Taylor travels in suitcases, so I'd be suspect.
Really, it'd be pretty easy to target a bus of a team. Like, say there's so much money on this game, and all you have to do is delay the bus or set a bomb, blow the fucking bus up or something. The protection of these players is beyond them traveling on airplanes and automobiles.
They're protected.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. They got underground.
I'm
sure
they have their own
system.
Security shit going on.
It's an underground subway.
They
system.
probably have people on standby and agencies.
And why do you think they're all in on it, you guys? How do you think they keep them quiet?
They got their own.
They don't have to pay them a shitload of money. They give them access to the underground. It's like, here, drink the blood and you can live for fucking 300 years. Just go play fake football. We'll clone you, and then whatever the fuck is that there's a large multitudes of so many things going on that it's like somehow and they're using this hypnotism on these guys. Possibly, okay, get this. I watched another movie. I think it was fairly recent. Yeah, it was the computer chip that ruined Halloween, or something like that is the name of the movie. And what the movie is about, it's about they put a helmet. It's kind of sci-fi, but basically they're like, we can change their thoughts and use mind control with fucking computer chips and software. Okay, so that was kind of softly being disclosed in it, and then to play on the title here and where this come, I came across a website called itsallfake.com. Now, it's-all-fake.com. And on this site, it was funny because I found this site after I listened to our last episode where we were talking about anything pre-1930, is basically like, wow, how the fuck can we verify anything that we're not talking to, like, people who actually lived? Like, if it's just written down somewhere, that's totally up for manipulation. Especially, you know, we don't need to go down that road of how easily it is to manipulate the books that are produced. So I found this site, and one of the things it was talking about was the use of testing, like implanting animal glands and shit like that, like animal, like monkey balls, trying to like boost the performance of athletes. And what that actually ended up getting into as far as subject material was actually really good, and the name Falconelli came up, which I did some reading on that and thought Trevor would find that interesting. But basically it was they disclosed, Kev, they say that they were that what they discovered was how to basically change the sex of like a male, have them start developing female like boobs, and you know, if they would chop your dick off, like you would just like you would have more feminine features, like what we are seeing with the inversion, the androgynous thing going on in society, where it's like all of the, you know, female singers that we're seeing have this male skeletal structure where it's like they were inverted at birth, or they were in some, this is how they made them in a cloning chamber, but basically this article that I was reading on itsallfake.com was talking about when they discovered this and started to implement it. Now I would imagine that's a bit of a story, you know, to say like, well, this is when they started it or discovered it, but the point is that if they were talking about it and using it back then, it's likely that, you know, obviously this might not be the first time this type of civilization has existed and been manipulated in this way, which is why the scripts that they run are probably so effective, because they already know that they work. They've run them before, so they're fine-tuning them. They know what they can get away with now, how lazy they can be, you know. I found it interesting that that's what this website was saying, and how it connected through like wanting to increase, you know, or basically manipulate how the behavior and the performance of the athletes. Yeah. Well, where would that lead you to? It would lead you to like microchipping shit, and we've seen evidence of having two players basically where one of them isn't even touched at all. One of them catches the ball and gets tackled, and the guy who doesn't get tackled falls down in the same exact way that the guy who got tackled did at the same exact time. Like the helmet pattern, like everything is the exact same how they went down. So it's like that was like a glitch in the supercomputer controlling these players with like what, like microchips in their head or what? You know, we don't know what it might be. It could just be some form of hypnotism where through the helmet they're just like saying keywords or something, you know. I would imagine it's more the microchip type of thing.
I don't know. I think they got a communication system that's unbreakable.
But yeah, basically, yeah. I was like, holy crap! We were just talking about this, and now here it is. This website, like, I think the website was created in 2023 or 2022, so it's like a fairly recent website. I'll talk about some more subjects that I'll mention some more stuff, you know, as the night goes on. I don't want to talk about them all.
JusticeForKurt.com.
Dump it all, but
JusticeForKurt.com. Remember that site?
JusticeForKurt.com.
For Kurt or
Justice
Kurt?
for Kurt. No, I don't remember that one. What was that for?
Kurt Cobain.
Oh, really?
Like all the conspiracy people came out and how he didn't kill himself.
Oh, they were like,
yeah, like and everybody on there. It was one of those. There's no way he did not. And then
Justice for Kurt.
Yeah,
okay.
justiceforkurt.com. That was one of my first initial like websites for like conspiracy shit.
Interesting.
Because that was one of the big conspiracies growing up when Kurt Cobain killed himself. I'm like, he didn't kill. But then it's like, okay, well now the truth, and that's how this whole world sort of manipulates itself, wrapped around one topic that you can't prove it. But god damn it, the evidence fucking is about 99.999%. But hey. Yeah. It's just that little.
Like, how do you actually shoot yourself with a shotgun?
That's what they went down the whole rabbit hole. That was a rabbit hole, and it's still to this day. People are still dissecting it. But now you go to that other site, like you said, you just got everything that you can imagine to find that's some sort of conspiracy. I mean, there's people catching on in the NFL. It's just one of those parts of that chapter that. And it has a pretty big fucking chapter because people are watching this shit.
Well, one of the main things was it used the like the 1900s World Fair or the 1930s World Fair. Well, I don't remember exactly the date. Sorry, like I've gone over this information so many times, I don't remember like the little details because there's too many of them for me. But. Yeah, sorry. I just kind of drifted away, got distracted by the televisions here.
7777.
What was I just saying, Kev?
About the 20s.
Oh, the World Fair. Yeah, sorry. So the World Fair, how they had exhibits. The exhibits at the World Fair were basically explaining why the world is the way it is. It was explaining all the industries, explaining like all this stuff is like a fake, like the Indians and the story about the Indians and chasing buffalo around here. There was an exhibit at the World Fair where it was like, no, they want you to believe this. They want you to believe this whole Wild West fucking thing like took place, and they want you to that the Civil War was like a cover up, and like. Allegedly, this character, Abraham Lincoln, never even existed. Like, there's information like that on this website, and it's like,
well, that's before
quite honestly, and it's not just saying it's stating, it's showing you like pictures and stuff where it's like, even the evidence that they're giving us to like to verify the history that they're telling us is fucking shit.
Yeah,
and it doesn't check out.
It's polluting the minds and giving lies. And the lies.
Yeah,
and
it's like what?
And people bought into it because of the brainwashing of all the condescending nonsense. And the rubber meets the road. This is where it stops.
See, I was just gonna say, and you said the key words where it's like you went back to the same thing, because I was like, Kev's gonna recognize the pattern here on how they used the Lincoln and the slavery and the Civil War narrative. Just like they're using all of these other narratives and all of these other lies. They're repeating the same fucking rubber meets the road type of all of things.
It's like this is where the truth finally comes out and is revealed. But that's the issue. You got a generational of this paradigm that said, "Hey, this is what it is. It's what it is, and you can't change it." If you argue it, you're going to be punished. If you argue it and challenge it, kids in schools can't do any of that shit. It's like, well, I don't believe it. Imagine that shit, especially with social media and everything. Now it's so much out there. But that's where the paradigm shift comes. This is where we got to reformulate this whole how we going to learn and how we need to have people educated.
Yeah, that was
they're
really
getting educated
well
with the wrong information and buying into it because you can't go against it or you're punished.
Or you're
I don't care
outcasted.
if it's your job, if it's your family. Like there's certain things you just
Yep. Or you're ousted on social media. No, everything Kev said there was such gold. That was really well said. The way he said it, how everything was presented there was just perfect. I can't wait to hear that again and clip it and put it in for another video just on its own. Yeah, that was really, really well said. I felt like I was listening to myself talk there for a minute. Which, to expand on what he's saying, all of this stuff is being revealed. Like, all of these truths are about society and how it's all fake are being revealed to those who want to see it. And I think one of the things that the Bible does do is it at least kind of points out, like, to some of those who know, to some Christians at least, who read Revelations, are like, they do understand at this time period where it's like, yeah, all of these lies that have been told to us for so long are being exposed.
Exploited and exposed.
And these lies are so big where it's like, yeah, even the Civil War and people like fucking the Founding Fathers, like, it was all a lie. We can't corroborate any of this. We can't verify any of it. All of the history books that they tell us, that they give us to tell us what history happened, were made by them. So it's like we're just going on their word that these were the books. It's just like how the Bible was created. We're just taking the Hebrews' word that they have the right books in the Bible. It's like, well, it's like the whole fucking thing, you guys. We can boil it down and see the same in the same way every time, because the same patterns are present, the same key ingredients, and it always boils down to things that are like, that can't fucking be what happened here. If that's really what was going on, we would have a lot better evidence of it, and the world would not be so fucked up.
Church music. In the unity of the Holy Spirit.
We haven't done that for a while. Amen.
In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form. Amen.
And then the day after that, God was like, I need football. So he created a bunch of stadiums around the world and made a football, and then made people to play it, and made helmets and shoulder pads and all the jerseys and all that stuff and all the logos. He did all that. All the shoelaces and all the jock straps. God made all that on the second day.
On the second day. And then the third day came Taylor Swift.
Okay, so the third day came Taylor Swift. And then the fourth day came gambling.
Let it all merge.
And then what happened was, on the fifth day, God said, let gambling and the NFL merge. And then what happened on the sixth day? God said, let NFL and gambling and Taylor Swift merge. And then on the seventh day, we haven't seen what the fuck happens yet.
The seventh day of Sabbath. The seventh day is on its way.
Here we are.
It's Super Bowl Sunday. Is when the Sabbath day is going to show its presence and reveal its true identity. I can't wait. So excited.
I should play guitar more. I'd be better at it. What do you think, Tim? Wish I could do those harmonics better.
Tim doesn't know any Taylor Swift. Does he like Taylor?
No comment.
You don't get along?
I think Taylor Swift can play the guitar.
I think that's how she started. She started on like a small little venue with a guitar and a guitar. And she had her guitar case with her, and people were putting money, and they said, oh my God, your voice is so good. And then she went on to acting, and she's a horrible actress. And then here she is today. She don't play guitar no more. She's just out there on stage jumping around. It ain't even her. So yes, Taylor started out with the guitar. She started playing that guitar.
So did she actually do the acting thing?
She's been in a couple movies.
Pornos?
OnlyFans, I don't know, but God, if somebody had that footage, it's worth $1 billion, bro. Can you imagine that? No matter what Taylor's involved, it's $1 billion. So we gotta figure out what's going on.
Taylor!
Where does she stay at? Does she stay in her own?
Yeah.
Like, where are these people hiding away from that? But if that even came out as a hint, shit, man, it'd be, I don't know. I mean, actors have done it before. Tommy Lee and that hepatitis C chick, Pamela Anderson, they did a sex tape that probably made $100 million. This motherfucking sex tape with Taylor and whoever, shit, man, $10 billion. I don't know. There'd be a blank check is what it would be. So, but yeah, she did some acting. She was in Valentine's Day. She played I don't know what she was. She was a cheerleader. And she played a very
cheerleader.
She was a
Really?
cheerleader. And she is a very needy. Like, she was going after one of the football players. And yeah, she played Valentine's Day.
Okay, I'll have to
And that
watch
was
that.
Valentine's Day. She plays the perfect role for it, but I never liked her back then, and I didn't like her then, and I didn't her music, but she's here, man. She trapped. She got his soul sucked like a fucking what do you call the pour the magic potion out there, and it's hypnotizing.
Something.
And her music is just
There is
sad.
some of her music is really hypnotizing. I'll give them that, but most of it's just bad.
You say the bad and the fuck. You tell a Swiftie that they overhear you say bad in Taylor Swift, unless it's Bad Blood, the song. If you say she's got some bad songs, bro, you're dead.
I'm gonna have to.
They're gonna crucify you mentally. They're gonna spill the powers on you.
I'm gonna have to.
You got to reword when you talk
here.
with Taylor Swift in the same sentence, okay?
There was somebody on my
Swifties
face.
killing me.
One of my friends from high school on her Facebook. She has 3 kids. I think all 3 play hockey too. All 3 girls. I was like, that's the coolest fucking thing. Like, a family of hockey girls. I don't know why I get such a kick out of that, but that's cool. Anyway, she posted a pic of like her Spotify, their top played artists, and who was at the number 1? She was like, in my defense, it's my kids that request Taylor Swift constantly. I didn't learn any more about that, but it was like I wanted to reach out and be like, what is it about this? Because it's like, we had teeny bopper stars when we were young. Like, Taylor Swift is not hotter than Britney Spears was. Taylor Swift is not hotter than, like, even Christina Aguilera, or who was the other one at the time? There was another couple
that were influential in America at that time. Influential, and maybe a few global, but now it's her or nobody.
Yeah, and Britney's like some
you had a multiple of celebrities that were sharing all the wealth, and now you're fucked, because back then it was. Why would that be a different era? Is it because of her music or because of just her power? She's a political figure at this point, obviously. But you're right. There was probably 10 influential singers back in the day that. I mean, it was a shared equality, I guess. I don't know.
It's weird because the music then, like, they had better music.
Better. It was way better.
Yeah, like.
And like, they didn't have the technology like the Swift. They don't have the. That was looked down upon if you was like like you was. Now it's normal. People know that they're lip syncing, obviously. But I don't know. I think. Nobody could sell tickets like all them people combined were making like what Taylor makes in one show. So there's something to that. I don't know.
No, like when Britney Spears
Like-
came out and was like
Britney she was in movies and she was a big deal. She wasn't a billionaire, no near
dude, yeah,
close.
no, when she came
Like,
out,
her
it was
music,
like,
she maybe-
hit me,
maybe
baby,
100
one more time, and everybody was like, I'll hit you as many fucking times as you want me to, Britney. I'm like, just tell me the number.
And she ended on like
And she didn't fucking go worldwide mainstream pop success, and
Not
like
at
that
all.
song was better than anything Taylor Swift has ever done ever.
and the music
And
was.
will ever
I
do.
will agree. I just think because Taylor,
Hit me,
her
baby,
music is
one
all
time.
related to this younger,
Jeez.
this tech savvy era of these 14 to like 25-year-old era of these whatever. Like they can all relate to Taylor in some way through a song of hers and the way she presents herself. Like,
Baby,
I can't think of another performer besides maybe Elvis Presley. But that was back before.
Yeah.
That's she's like the Elvis Presley of like if when Elvis died, the world went silent. Like he was worldwide. If that happened to like Taylor something bad, it would be a worldwide everybody. It would be that's how she globally affects this. How is she impacting though? How is she impacting as an influential person? Besides, she charges as much as a Super Bowl ticket to go see her concerts, unless you know somebody that gets you in on the Swiftie train that you're Swifties and they're all getting in for free because they're all making money through their social media. Or, I mean, how is she influencing anything besides costing a fuckload of money and losing money in sports and all they have to see her? And she does nothing for it except expand on some fugazi that they're creating in this global sensation, and they included the football. That's where I'm at with this.
Yeah.
I can't pick another narrative on what they're going to do with this because it's strange, man. The season's been nothing but unpredictable strangeness.
Yeah, gosh, the Swiftyverse thing is one fuckaroo of a topic, man.
Strange.
There just aren't like female artists out there. Like you would have kind of thought like if the music industry was organic, we would have seen a big boom of female artists, and we would still see like a lot of like really good female musicians, but we just don't.
Oh.
We didn't see that shift, that paradigm shift that we would have
Not
seen.
at all. We got Usher at Super Bowl. It was either him or Taylor. There's no otherybody else. I came into conclusion. That was it.
I was thinking maybe Daniel Negreanu over there looks like maybe not quite the same Daniel we've seen, but I think the beard and the haircut's throwing it off.
Yeah, he's looking.
It doesn't look like the typical guy that we've seen before, but I think it's because the beard.
Gotta be. He's disguising himself.
I mean, it is possible that it's
A lot of psychology goes in that poker. A lot of psychology, man. Like three steps ahead shit.
yeah.
To be pros, I commend them. Man, if you want to be make a living on poker, I've been down the road. You're working 18 hours a day at a poker table, and your job is to steal chips. Your job is to lie and bluff and collect chips.
Yeah.
You know how long that lasts, and it's fun? It's not very long. These guys are a whole nother caliber. They just have bankrolls, and they're like, this is like $100 tournament, as if I would treat it. Like they just have this, and the social media. A lot of these players are made their money through they're terrible poker players, but they bring
Really
the crowd in.
made them so-
They give your normal poker player a shot. Like I can play these hands like these guys. Why do I have to play aces and kings all the time? That's why in home games it's not even fun to sit down and because it would just make it. People would be like, "Why is he playing 7 deuce offsuit?" It's like that's unfair. Well, I'm here to steal chips because that's what poker is. It's who has the most chips at the end, right? No matter how I get them. But it's like the old days. You wouldn't play those type of hands when they had guns and cash on the table. Now, it's any two cards.
Yeah,
And that becomes another advantage of you
Yeah.
can use the stats and outs and blocker bets and all that stuff. But it's that fucking 2% chance just always seem, and that's when people get addicted to it. And that's where people always have that bad beat, or they win a bad beat, they get addicted because they know it's going to happen one way. Just like sports betting. Same
Yeah.
shit. But you have more control over the poker with psychology. You can't have a psychology with the quarterback, what he's thinking, because the whole thing's scripted.
And then that fear of missing out on
Missing
that
out,
too,
like, oh, what it could have, should have. Next time I'm in that
Yep.
situation, I'm calling. You know, all that. You like, man, I
Yep.
got 8 deuce
Next
off
time
suit.
I got that
I got
feeling.
8 deuce off suit, and it cost me 25 more to call.
Yep.
And the flop comes 8 deuce deuce. Well, I already folded, but that's what psychology. Like, the past is irrelevant, but it sure as shit seems as like it's relevant.
Oh yeah.
You know, what goes around comes around. Karma, like Taylor, karma is my boyfriend.
Oh God, I
Karma.
heard that song again.
Karma.
And I was like, they're actually putting in the hypnotism elements in the background with the bass because it's suspenseful. It like kind of suspends you.
I know.
It like we've talked about this before, but people really do not understand how like sound and frequency and music itself can be used as a weapon.
It's like slot machines.
Yeah.
This tone, the key of C, keep everybody enticed. Happy, positive music.
Like you could probably go insane if you were subjected to having to listen to some type of music for a lengthy amount of time. Like it would cause physical illness and shit.
Sure would.
I know country music will have that effect on me. Like it can make me nauseous. Like not if I'm, that was when if I had been drinking. Yeah, it would be like, oh God, this is giving me a headache.
That's why people are so happy during the holidays. The holiday music is another trap. Motherfucking, it's a trap. My gosh, is it not a trap? Is it not a trap?
Ugh.
Or is it? I don't know.
Dude, I can listen to
It can turn people for like 2 days into like, oh my God, my life, and
take, like,
everything's
10
great,
minutes of
and then
it.
back in the gutter, fucking 1 January with your resolutions. I don't know, but I think it's sort of that glimpse for just a couple days where, I don't know, people that don't want to be out of void, and people are out there, they're there because they want to be,
Jingle bells. I mean,
just the whole thing.
like at work,
Christmas music. It's everybody. Gets everybody like, I don't know, man. It's
for example, at work, I'll throw a Twitch stream on just to put in the background, and one of the streamers I watch switch to Christmas music, and after like 10 minutes, I just find myself like, oh, this fucking Jingle Bells song, like I can't take it. I feel like I'm stuck in an elevator, So I'm like, are you gonna play Christmas music the whole month of December? It's like I'm not trying to be not festive here, but this shit is actually so annoying. Like I'm not gonna listen or watch what you're doing because I can't fucking take it, dude.
Yeah.
I cannot sit here and listen to Deck the Halls with Bells, just over and over and over. Fucking, it's like after this many years, if you hear the same songs over and over, you're like, okay, so you guys, Christmas is not a progressive thing, huh? You're just gonna recycle the same trash music for fucking hundreds of years? Oh my God,
That's
people!
what they do, man.
What kind of stupid ass like?
It is.
What kind of brainwash loop are you stuck in?
It's what they are.
It's like a fucking having somebody flash their memory with the Men in Black flash taser things.
Mm-hmm.
Like every Christmas. That's what it does. It's like resets them. It's like forget everything you did this year. Like pretty much everything. Concentrate on one thing. Make your resolution and just think about
Make
that
sure
one
your
thing.
football picks are winners.
Fuck, man.
Christmas. They got a nice lineup for football. That's for sure.
Both games.
Gamble on Christmas, everybody. Gamble. I'm sure they'll have enough holiday specials in your parlays.
Yeah.
Teaser bets.
Both games. This one's winding down to about halftime here. Both games are at 7-7. So again, pretty much the same script on both games.
49ers final score. What they scored in their game, 7-7.
7-7.
Shout out
Bunch of
Niners.
sevens. Yeah, I think I saw the week before that it was like 7-7, 14-14 or something
crazy.
like that.
They've scored a lot of points this season.
Yeah.
49ers. They're just not the generation of the Niners that I knew, though.
No.
All that old days. Everything's so political and.
No, this is different.
It's so different. And that's the problem. A lot of people are not. They don't see the old. Now they just see what's now. This is like the new norm for everybody that's born after, I don't know, let's go 2005.
Those are two pretty big
15,
boys.
about 2007. Anybody born after 2007, they're gonna fall into this trap of this sports shit, and they already are up there in college, or even able to gamble.
Dude, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch because I have people that I graduated high school with have kids now that are in high school, about to graduate high school, and going to college. One of them has some daughters that are really good basketball players, and one of her daughters committed to like NDSU, I think, to play basketball up there. So it's like, that's pretty cool for a female to go on an athletic scholarship. That's pretty cool, man. So she's gonna go play like Division II basketball, but it's like, I look at that and when I watch her play, I watch her moves. It's like, yeah, that girl is just pure talent. She's got the skills. But she's going up and she's playing against like gender inverted people, like, with a male skeletal structure, longer hands, longer arms, longer legs, longer torso, just more athletically tuned, and I'm just never gonna make it to the level that like she kind of deserves. But what do? Jump in and tell her, like, look, here's the real landscape that you're dealing with? You just kind of crush their dreams.
I don't know. It could disrupt the entire future. It's like Back to the Future shit.
Yeah.
It's like, and the other thing, if there's a point spread attached to a fucking basketball game, college women basketball game, I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because if there's a point spread involved, there's gambling. When there's gambling involved, there's corruption. And when there's corruption involved, somebody's controlling shit.
That's right.
And that's how it always has been. Now, hey, who knows what the future's going to be with even these athletics, student athletes.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's getting out of control. And like you said, we're not going to see the problems manifest themselves until it's too late. And they're not going to have anywhere to go. That's the thing too. It's like they're herding them down this place, and it's like, where do they turn from there? Conspiracy theory, or what they taught was conspiracy theory, because the reality of what they're going up with is that it's scripted and rigged. So if they don't want that to be the reality, where are they going to go?
If you go against, you're going to get punished.
And if they do wake up and figure out that's the reality, how far does that go?
Not far, man. Especially, I don't know. Depends on how far up the pyramid level it going to go. Mm-hmm. You ain't going above a certain level, I'll tell you that. Impossible. That's the one thing. It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's what. I don't know, man. I'm a little worried about what's the next move for all the.
Well, I think there's going to be some sort of attack in the U.S. at some point.
Take the power out and shut the internet down and see how. Oh yeah, go 72 hours without any of that. Just go 72 hours, and we'll see how we act as. You want to find out who your true neighbors are? Fucking make that happen. Go outside and find out what really is your true. You ain't gonna find anybody.
Right? Whose doors are locked?
Who the fuck has the most water? Oh shit. Like the fucking, I don't care how much security you got, they're gonna come fucking get what they want. That's how it's gonna be old school. Like, hey, I'm gonna write you an IOU.
Yeah.
Well, I need more than I need. Well, now that's where it all starts. So
it'll get to a point where
would that be a wake up call? I don't think so. I think we've been around too many scenarios that have been either in a movie or some sort of fairy tale, and they're going to be like, all right, this is what we've seen, so this is how we're going to react. And
right
now, that's not to say that a lot of that. I mean, look at the fucking gambling movies and documentaries, and now the shows. All this gambling, why have they been feeding all this gambling shit throughout the last couple of years? It's been really like about COVID. I'd say after COVID, there's been multiple of all the scandals and all the tribulations and all this and that, and now the next thing will be a collapse of fucking gambling. Like, people lose too much money and they can't win, so these sites are going to force to, like, hey, we got to stop gambling. I don't know. We got to turn to entertainment. No more gambling. I don't know if gambling will ever go away. I can't. People would bet on wrestling. If you're fucking me and you go to wrestling, we got our fucking kids. We're like, hey, bro, I'll just give $10 a round of beer, whatever we're doing. Your fucking kids drinking at the wrestling, and then you're gambling. I don't know the extent of the NFL, how
I don't
long
understand
it will continue.
How is it so addictive? Like, I get that the game's more fun when you have money on the line because it adds, it gets your heart pumping and stuff like that. But
It's because we require as human beings that, like, shock. What's it called? You need the... like, you gotta have the... like the thrill of, you're like, oh, I'm just part of this, and I'm just like on the right side, and I'm happy for like 2 weeks, and then then I'm on the wrong side. It's like you can't balance it out. Now, why is it so addicting? Because I think it's the numbers that people get attracted to. The numbers, like this point spreads, really. Because here's the thing: you could do office pools where there's no point spreads, and you still can't pick 50% winners. You just like circling teams.
Yeah.
And even if you put records in there, no point spread, you're still not going to hit 50% over your time. You're just going to pick based off of records. Now you throw the point spread in. That's where it's like, okay, what kind of trickery did they do? Why that number? Is that because they know that number is going to attract so much people just based off of a 4.5, or based off of 7.5, 14.5, all this little halves, and it's like, if I could just play it, and then I'm going to move these points into another favorite way so I can have my odds so I can come within the spread number. It's addicting because the numbers are relatable. They're not hard to figure out. And if there's money involved and you win, you outsmarted the numbers. So you're just kind of like, hey, I'm kind of a genius. But the truth is, you're fucking hitting heads for about 5 in a row. But now here comes the double coined tails. Heads. Oh, it's tails. Oh, it's tails. Tails. Now the NFL says, hey, we're going to give back all the heads and the tails. Flip the coins. But then it's just something with the numbers. And that's how it is, man. I think that's all the numbers. Everything got a number to it, and the colors. And I think people think it's fun to sit. It's like going to a movie. It's like you want to bet at the end of the movie before we go and just sit and watch. It's the same thing. Because the outcome is obviously at the last 5 minutes or at the first 5 minutes if they want the game over quick. But obviously they don't want blowouts. They want these games within a number. That's why the addiction. And it's advertised and it's effortlessly and it's accessible. And it's really designed for entertainment, but people will look at it as like, well, if I can make a couple $100, you better have a bankroll. You better have a bankroll if you want to really, because people out there say, Kev, I want to be a professional gambler in sports. I said, well, you should have asked me, I don't know, like 16 years ago, how to do all that. Now it's all shifted. You can't, at least this season. Unless you're very, very good at just picking random shit.
How is that not offensive pass interference? But yeah.
Why is the lottery? Why is the fucking lottery so popular? Because it's a chance.
It gets them close. I mean, this gets them within field goal range. That was like a 50-yard pass gain there.
And the other thing is, fantasy football sports really overtook this gambling because now you don't care about the fucking team. You care about like just the players. You don't care who you could be a diehard Kansas Green Bay Packers fan, and you want you don't care. You're on your quarterback is starting on your team, on the other team. So you have to go with your heart is now on players, not the teams. And the gambling is you can bet on any of these players and like, are they going to get this? And when there's odds there, the money is always some sort of manipulation. You ain't going to win. And I was such an advocate for sports gambling legal. I think it's going to be detrimental to people. Absolutely. it's going to be so detrimental.
There's got to be some hypnotism behind it too, and I don't understand how they accomplish that. But I think you were playing on some of how they accomplish it with the colors, with the numbers,
And the advertising
the
of these key players. And
yeah,
you got and then you just
the whole onslaught of high school football movies, and like the whole onslaught of
everything.
reconditioning the high school football cheerleader, the athlete cheerleaders stereotype, like social hierarchy in the fucking high schools. This stupid ass homecoming king and queen, like it's all very fucking creepy what they do in public schools, like the rituals and shit that they go through. Very fucking creepy, and it's like
how is that legal?
I don't know if it like maybe it's some sort of how like plays into this hypnotism, like the spell, the actual witchcraft. Like if you go through the ritual and you just don't really know what you're doing, you're kind of like somehow under the spell, and it's almost a matter of pride too. Like a lot of people's pride just won't let them like see the script.
These assholes kicking both field goals.
Yeah, so now,
What the
both
fuck?
teams are kicking field
Well,
goals
it's
within
conveniently
the last
like
20
we're gonna have
fucking
exact
seconds.
same scores, 10-7, 10-7.
Yeah, it's like we could just be watching, and like you were saying earlier,
What
most
the
people
fuck?
will not be watching both games. Because
No!
they don't have two televisions.
They have no idea what's going on in this game, and like, how are these? This is goofy shit right here.
So it's like
10
everybody's watching the
halftime.
same fucking game,
10-7, 10-7.
but they don't even know it.
The both away teams are 10 and oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is really odd.
Are both teams running the same scripts?
It's like
In the
that's
plays?
like almost exactly what we're. What the fuck? Did you see how much that curved?
How that whipped right
Holy
out.
shit!
But it didn't go. Obviously, it stayed in. So.
I thought it whipped out. How it curved so much, like, but the whole time I was like in. It's like going right now, right at the end. Yeah, it just starts like, what the fucking fuck, you guys? No way. I've seen like most of these are pretty obvious, but that one in particular was by far super obvious.
10-7.
Yeah, 17
Unbelievable.
seconds left in the second, 13 seconds left. The Green Bay Packer field goal, 36 yards. Someone fucking tell me how that ball curved at the end of the flight there.
The remote control must have ran out of power.
Come on, guys.
I was supposed to miss it.
If you can't see it after that one, like you're fucking like I don't know.
Delusional.
Yeah, like you're just gone.
way past the time in Renaissance to try to fix it.
Like you got brain.
Like you ain't coming back.
You're
they
like
ain't coming back.
Like
They're
you ever
gone.
seen a squid change
They're
its
gone.
colors? You ever seen that shit? Like a squid change its colors?
Squid, yeah.
Yeah, fucking whoa.
Yeah.
What if like a big one could just change into like what looked like a human? Why not? Why not? Why can't there be squid people? I think that there are. I think that's what they talk about with the reptilians and shit. It's like the same type of thing.
In the crowd.
Probably something like that's going on, and then there's like microchips or fucking clones or NPCs where they're not actually there at all. Yeah, or the brainworm thing.
Like, how is that? How is it both 10-7? That just is mind.
Yeah.
It's really got me wondering what's going on here. Could you imagine both in like a tie, some crazy both tie on a Monday night?
God, if they
there
both
hasn't been a
ended
tie
the same
game this year,
shit.
except the closest was the Vikings and the Raiders.
Watch both the games.
0-0 to the fucking very end of the
They'll
game.
like sync up somehow, and like they'll be kicking a field goal at the same exact time, or something will sync up perfectly here.
It almost did.
Yeah, it did. It almost did. It ain't far off.
They were 17, about 2 minutes difference, and that was because of a timeout. A lot of commercials on one station than the other. Imagine that.
Yeah.
While fucking.
And that's just time. That's not
just
even
time.
game clock.
Not even
Game
game
clock,
clock.
there was like a matter of 10 seconds,
10 seconds,
difference
yep.
on the score.
It was.
On the field goal
It
there.
was.
And I don't know the distance of the...
The other one was a chip shot. It was like 30
Was
yards.
it 28 or 30,
Something like that.
30 something?
It wasn't
so
a
28 and
spectacular.
36 yard field goals?
Yeah, it was almost like right on cue for every one of these scores.
Uh-huh.
Like the delay, it was almost to a T.
Yeah.
And that's both why, if you're not watching both, you don't see what I'm talking about until halftime. Like, nobody will even care about the other team. They just want to fucking watch their Packers. Because, you know, like, Packers are publicly owned. So there's a lot of Packers fans.
It would have been like watching a WWE match twice. It would have been like watching it twice. Like watching the same one.
It's just bananas.
But calling them different people.
Yeah, like the Packers, that publicly owned football team, it's pretty amazing how big of an impact they are on sports in general.
I don't know why, but it's probably the same reason I love watching women's volleyball, but women's WWE. Why is it? Maybe it's a guy thing.
I don't know.
I'm sure it's because it's more aesthetically pleasing to watch. Like, I would much rather watch scantily clothed women than men.
Like,
it's just a fact.
What's she doing with a horse? Yeah. She bring a horse to the meeting. Like, what?
Yeah, why is that so out of place?
Okay. I thought that was for gambling. I thought she was advertising for DraftKings. Like, get $5 off your first horse bet. Like, what the hell? She got dragons and shit.
$5 off your first Calcutta.
Your trifecta. Superfecta. Good luck picking one horse. You gonna pick 4?
Oh gosh.
Man,
my mom
people are suckers for fucking big action. They can't be happy with $100. They gotta bet $10 to win 100,000.
I just like.
What is wrong with the culture where?
I don't understand the
gambling
at all, man. It's got to be some kind of witchcraft because it's like I can pick up my chips and move on and be like, I'm not missing out.
No, you ain't. That's
but like, fuck. This is a great example. I'll use myself as an example. Okay, I play this video game. It's called For Honor, and I don't know why when I get into playing the game, it's like I get this fucking thought that like if I don't do that good in one match, or I could have done better, or my team loses, even though it's like a bunch of random people that we can't really talk to each other and strategize that much, I'll get some like weirdly attached, Kev, and like I'll get upset, like I'll get emotionally attached to it, to the outcome, and it's like it means nothing. Like if I go 0-3 at the beginning of the game, I'll start getting mad because my score looks bad, and like I don't. Is it somewhat the same? Or it's like I'll sit down and play it and like I'll get a text saying, hey, we made this certain meal, like you wanna eat with us? Or go eat, or you wanna go do this or something? And I'll be like, I won't respond to it or something, I'll just put it off because I'm playing this game, and like pretty soon an hour goes by and I'm just like I'm still like involved in it. Like why is that? Why am I so like almost addicted to this game to the point I'll sit there and play it with like a video lottery machine almost?
You're asking somebody who played poker for a long time. It's an adrenaline motherfucking.
Are we just kind of built like that? Like,
it's just people
we all kind of we like to grind on our own things, and a lot of us like to grind on the same things. I guess like that's why a lot of video gamers like to play the same game over and over. They just like to grind and grind and grind.
I think it's managing decisions.
That's interesting. So it's something like a combination of what keeps your mind and body occupied
I think
enough.
It's a life of continuous state of like you gotta have that
a combination of a bunch of shit.
You gotta have that.
Like fear of missing out, and you gotta have like their favorite colors involved, and
and a lot of it has to do because you don't have to take personal responsibility for
like
the
now
outcome.
Your wife watches more because fucking Taylor Swift might be there.
Is involved, and
it's like we can there's so many, like we were saying last time, there's not just one reason to the why of all of this. There's like multiple reasons. And that's another reason why we're saying all of this and putting it out so people can help. Like the more people we get thinking about this stuff, the more they're going to notice other details and more patterns. And the more details and patterns that we can document and educate people on, the more we're going to force their hand to change, force the dealer to change the way that they're playing their hand.
Gotta,
the way that they're
gotta
dealing
take
cards
the,
too.
Gotta take the rigged deck out of play.
Like, yeah, they're not going to be playing these fucking Joker cards anymore. These fucking Aces Wild hands. Like, they
Yeah.
won't do it because people at the table will be like, yeah, I see that, I raise you.
It's fucking
and we'll win, you know? That's really all this comes down to. It's like a poker game. It's like a poker game of whether you
poker
can
game
raise
with
up.
chess pieces involved.
Yeah, and a bunch of witchcraft.
A lot of shit. A lot of witchcraft going on. A lot of hopes and a lot of prayers for the fucking card to magically. Fuck, man, that's the problem with the poker. It's the only game in a casino where you're touching the cards and you're playing the player, not the house. The houses isn't caring. They're getting their percentage, just like sports betting. But sports betting's a different way of manipulating. I don't know. I think when it comes down to poker, good poker players are very good at piecing things together. They make very good analysis for certain people or certain, like, I don't know, crime scene investigators, people that conduct polygraph tests, people that are in, like, law enforcement that can do an interrogation and get the truth out of somebody. But the thing is, it's the psychological part about it is you can be so calculated on, and one card can completely, like, throw all that out the window. But the other thing with the poker players, if it's you a personal responsibility to play the best odds you can, while also paying attention to what's going on at the table, and little tails that people give away, like if they're gonna, they just give away tails, and keeping your autonomic nervous system at a restful rate at all times, because you get them pocket aces and your natural body reaction is, oh shit, fear for flight. It's like now your baseline is way up here and you can't control, which, especially if you're in a professional environment, these pros, they're human fucking, they can dissect what you're going through unless you can remain calm and put your story out there as, hey, I got the best hand right now, but I'm terrified. And they can just use that as the advantage. So
Right.
that
Yeah,
is
you're
that's
so
an
right. These guys
example of
study
real
that
life
stuff.
gambling, because obviously there is gambling involved. But if you can use the little subconscious tells that people give away, they give away a lot of information. And I'm not talking your home game. I'm talking fucking for money. And you're doing this to make money. You're protecting your chips. Also with using your way to lie yourself. That's why poker players are very good at lies. Liars. They could be good at undercover shit. They can get away with this shit because they keep their shit and they keep their shit cool. They don't freak out when they get aces. Like me, I'm fucking terrified to see aces. I want like
You're like,
7,
God
8
damn
off
it,
suit
here
and
we go
let
again.
me see the flop and get a straight. Instead of me, I pocket aces and try to keep my fucking heart from beating out of my chest. So you gotta learn how to do breathing techniques.
That's right.
And in the government, they also train how to fall asleep in 2 minutes if you need to.
Really?
They train you. They go through breathing. I mean,
Yeah,
months and
that's-
months of training, and then also for like if you are I don't know, if you're in a situation where you're threatened in, like, let's say you're visiting a country and all of a sudden they just kidnap you and they want information from you, and now you're like, oh shit, if I just keep my cool. But most people will have that fear before flight.
Yeah,
all
you'll
that
freak
freaking
out at some point.
But that's an extreme, like
you're getting
we're- But that would be an extreme example. I'm not talking like any like thing you haven't seen on a movie, but those type of things. But most people can't keep their cool. But when it comes to like poker players and those types of professions, they know how to regulate their system. They go through breathing classes. They work at they go out to the gym all the time to get their breathing, because that's their
You gotta have right.
and it gets to the point where you have such a big bankroll, you don't give a fuck. You're just there to advertise and just play carelessly and not, worry. The people that their livelihood is like, this is my next chapter to be a poker player. It's a grind. Imagine 18 hours a day for fucking 368 days a year, or whatever, 365 days a year. It's what they do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how that works in life in general. But that's
That's
why
a really good point, because on the breathing thing, just augment on that. One of the only ways that you can like say I'm playing that video game and it's just everything is going the wrong way. Like every little thing that happens is that one thing that could piss you off just more and more and more. How do you like detach? How do you just practice unattachment like quickly? Like instead of like having to sit and play another 3 games to get back to a point where you feel like, okay, that's better. How do you just like, I went 0-4, just, I fucked up now. Like, or what it is, what it is.
Take some Xanax and like hope for better days ahead. I don't know.
But when you're like in that moment, it's like, okay, can you just like
turn it off?
Turn it off and turn on the like, okay, let's just go through a breathing exercise for a moment. Let me just breathe here.
That's what psychologists train for, for people with their problems, especially if they're in like
it's very
especially
effective.
If they've had like
it's almost like
relationship,
a
especially anything with relationships.
Great.
Can you just turn off a fucking argument and then
just like
go to no, you can't
normal,
because
right.
But
let's go back to being in love. After
but if that's a problem where that it's people that can turn it off. Now they're considered like a psychopath because they have no emotions.
Oh yeah,
and she's crying.
Right.
But you're trained you have. That's why psychologists, if you go to a psychologist's office and they hear the most worst story, like, oh my God, how is she fucking but they have no emotions, zero. They train themselves not to cry. They train, you know what I mean?
They ask that robotic question back. So like, would you say that you're happy?
But then they have to turn it off to fucking function to go on to worry about. So that's where if you're not training for it, or you're not in a need to train for it, like Olympics, like all these fucking athletes.
Gosh, even just an example,
anything. That's just like
a young girl loves animals, wants to be a veterinarian. It's like the fucking nightmare for them. It's like they have to go live a nightmare almost every day because they're so attached emotionally to every animal, and they like. Imagine being married to that. It's so exhausting. It's like, can't you just unattach and fucking not stress, not be attached and manipulated by every fucked up thing in the world? I think that's one of the greatest tools I was taught so early that allowed me to learn and keep learning instead of instead of drowning in depression and all the bad shit in the world and not being able to take it anymore, was just remembering to breathe, unattach, and I can't just I can't get more pissed off and more pissed off the next time I learn something that's even more pissed offing. That's gonna be insane. I don't want to go through that. That's you don't learn that way either. I found it's important to the foundation that you're building to really be able to unattach to all those things. But actually go through the actions of researching and attaching to those things. You do have to experience how those emotions, it pisses you off when you understand how manipulated people have been. It's very fucking sad, very very sad how many people live and die just because they're so manipulated and
but I mean,
it's the truth is there the whole time.
In the psychology, when we learn about psychology and behaviors of the language barriers, how can we convey without knowing the language? Well, pretending to not know a language, but to have the expression of you're clueless. So you have to adapt to there was an experiment where they would hook you up with a heart rate monitor, and it would be a heart rate monitor, and there would be pictures that would be put up on the screen of McDonald's colors, like a McDonald's restaurant. And you automatically would have your initial reaction. You would have some sort of hit in your brain that says, "Oh, the colors." And then there would
Catwoman wearing Jordans down here. Sorry.
Oh,
I think it's
Jordans everywhere.
I don't. Is she wearing Jordans?
I don't know.
I could quite see, but that would have made it real cool. Not to be distracted from what you're saying.
So this experiment was to try to when you see these things to try to like not react and like I can distinguish. I can say that's a building with colors and that's it. Some people can be like, well, that's where I get my fucking sugar from and my fix for the day. That's why people they even do this with people trying to lose weight. They're like, when you fucking pass an ice cream place, you just have to like train your brain to say that's a building, and it's just that's how. But it's tough to do. So what I mean, if you're not using it for something, whether it's your job, whether it's to be a public speaker, for example, like people would rather die than public speak. I used to be terrified to public speak until I got in front of a bunch of people with a bunch of shit. And I was, and like these were people that like, oh my God, I'm just scared. I'm terrified. And I had to go through class to like, you had to regulate your autonomic nervous system. Yeah. So, but still to this day, the only thing that always gets me is just, you see a police officer, you know you did nothing wrong, but I can like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if I had a bunch of shit in my trunk, I'm not going to like freaking out. No, but that initial. But most people will have that like, holy shit, I'm fucked. Like,
tighten up
and
thing.
nothing happens. But you can regulate it in a second if you're trained to be like, okay, that's it. There's no fear, the bear's in the woods, and I'm just gonna sit here and I'm not gonna run. Like that type of like, you got two options. Either the bear's gonna attack you, eat you, or you're gonna play dead and just like live your like. Especially if you get attacked by a bear, they always say, if you can control your autonomic nervous system, but a fucking bear, dude, like, I don't think you can train anybody. Even like, you throw people in the sharks, you know there's sharks in there, you don't think their heart rate is not going to survive. Unless you're going to go be like a seal somewhere in the world, and you got to like be around sharks and you're invading a territory. Next thing you know, you got to like control your shit. Yeah. That is like the most extreme of extreme. But fighters, anybody that uses some sort of stress mechanism, all have been through this, some sort of training. And it works for real life things, but it was never taught at a young age. Like this is how do you regulate your like emotions, and a lot of that goes through people that go through so much shit, and they come out and they're finally like figured out psychology, and they're like, okay, it's just better days ahead or something.
Yeah, no, we go through public school where they
oh god, they shame you, and they're like
variables.
And public speaking has always been terrifying for people because they're always been ridiculed. They could be the greatest public speaker in the world, but if people are going to criticize or just automatically, that person has to shut that system up, but you can't because you're growing, and when your brain's developing, you put these subconscious ideas in your mind, like public speaking. I would love to get up and speak in fucking front of 100,000 people. I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because I just be like, hey,
give me the mic,
I'd be the worst. And
let's go.
But that's a lot of people would rather die than do that. Even if you paid them $10,000 to public speak for 5 minutes, they'd be like, no, I'd rather die. That's the truth and reality of people.
I'd change their lives.
But that's my point. People would just back out. And then they'd be like, okay, the next, you got to look at it from a perspective. Most great public speakers were always like, just never.
Well, we see.
And even like, you want to go be a bad public speaker, go fucking start preaching religion. You can be the worst fucking, and you're going to be fine. That's different. People don't judge.
Go do it on a
street corner. But if you go do it for some sort of like an award, people got to judge you. That's why debate class is always fun, but they always restricted on what you can say.
Oh yeah, and that's.
And I'm like, why would I want to be restricted? Freedom of speech, and I start bringing amendments up, and they're like, you got to get out. You know too much. You're gonna fucking fuck with the system. Yeah. You come in there with that attitude, like you don't care. We're gonna have an issue, so you need to go do something else. And I said, fine, fuck you. I'll figure it out on my own.
Same thing. Yeah, I was like, man, you guys are rigging the
crab in the bucket, man. Don't let him in.
I remember that I did debate in FFA, Future Farmers of America, right? Mm-hmm. And we went to competition, and I remember I did really well because I knew how to win my argument. But what I understood right away, I was like, this is fucking stupid. This isn't a debate. This is a script. This is just a show, and you only get to say a certain piece and then hope that everybody gets to. Will agree with you. You don't get to actually go back and forth with somebody. You get, speaker, you have the floor for 2 to 5 minutes. No longer. Okay, say your piece, and then you get to say your piece, and then the other person gets to say their piece, but you don't get to go again. you don't get to give a rebuttal against them, and if you do, it's like you never get to go back and forth like an ad hoc actual discussion. It's like it's so rigid. Like you only get to, and this person can only speak at a certain time. It was like it was more about learning the stupid rules of this little debate pageant, this debate charade that they wanted you to play in, than it was actually about critically thinking and learning like what the purpose of debate actually is amongst intellectuals.
Yeah.
You know, where they go and drink tea.
I think that, you know.
Looks like the Giants might have scored a touchdown here.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
You know, Ben, the singer.
Ben Gertner.
He taught me that we were talking about that one time. I said, Ben, how do you not have like anxiety when you get on stage?
Oh.
He goes, I use breathing. And I was like, no shit. And I'm like, I've been wanting to know if that's like how, and he told me exactly what I've been saying about classes, and they teach you how to breathe and not freak the fuck out. And I think a lot of like even musicians that perform, obviously there's substances that they're taking. Maybe it's Valium, or maybe it's some sort of like and they're just natural, they're just natural fucking adrenaline while they're up there. They know their shit and they don't give a fuck how bad they sound. They're just gonna drive the energy. That's why Taylor Swift, she can be the worst fucking act and still get away with it.
Yeah, remind me to circle back to that little mushroom. Well, maybe I'll just say it now. I think there is something to the microdosing and being able to kind of just get in a mind frame where if you're in a competitive scenario, the mushroom microdosing actually makes it so your body is a little bit more in tune with your subconscious, and your subconscious is connected to the other person's subconscious. So everything that they're thinking happens before they do it. Thought precedes action. This is something I wrote about in my book, actually. Thought preceding action would mean that you think everything before it happens. So the cage fighter who's thinking, I'm going to do this combo, well, they've already thought that maybe at least a good half second to 10-15 seconds.
Yeah.
And that other fighter is aware of that on their subconscious level. They're both aware of each other at the same time, but it's which one can tune into it.
I've heard about that.
A lot of them call it like flow state. You know, you hear some weird terminology being thrown around where it's like people just. I've heard disc golfers talk about it where they're like, man, I don't even remember the round. I almost like blacked out. I just got into it, and
they got the tunnel vision for focus.
Sometimes I think those are the people with the microchips and shit in their brain, but anyway, we're still trying to just describe an actual thing here, not just microchips, but
But that microdosing, you know, there's been a lot of pros about it, but then there's some people that have been fucking, they haven't treated it with respect, and they want to get fucking completely go down a rabbit hole and not come back. There's detrimental effects when it comes to like microdosing.
Remember, and I tried it just recently. Not like recently, but like, well, I mean, within the last year.
Yeah.
I took like a little too much, like 1.5 grams almost, like a gram and a little over 1 gram. And for not doing anything, I should have only taken probably a half and let it play out. But what I was going to mention to you is I think I'd actually be willing to do it again. But I would want to do do a half and let it play out. And then I want to be playing this video game and see if it affects my reactions, like to a point where I'm like, okay, this 400 millisecond or 500 millisecond attack on this game, where I have 500 milliseconds to react to it. Now, I know my kind of normal sober state or relaxed state from when I wake up, or when I'm really like nice and stoned, or to when I'm tired and want to go to bed. Now I'm wondering, like, if I just go about my normal everything,
you have to
throw 0.5 gram of
you have to experiment a couple different times
and see what happens.
You have to treat it with respect, number one, because psychedelics are a little bit different than
they can get
any
away
other
from
drugs.
You, man.
They can.
There can be a point where it's just it's like, okay, there's a great experience. You're going up. You're like, ooh, colors, ooh, this and that sensation. But then it's like, too much, and it becomes overwhelming, and then it gets up on top of you.
Well, that's what
what kind of happened to me. I was just like, I can't turn my thoughts off. They're too fast.
That's the other thing with
regulate
people. Like they can take drugs and not have fear of repercussions, because most of the time people are using those type of drugs for either to get fucked up and like try to forget their problems, and or people that have dealt with problems and they're just using it as, okay, well, I ain't worried about shit, I'm just going to enjoy this time. But then you got to look at it from, there's people that have stories, and there's people that have did this, and people that have done that, and people that have taken too much, people that microdose and figure out, okay, this is exactly the dosage that will ultimately allow me to function and do this.
Yeah.
Now that takes a lot of time, and you got to know what is going to work and what's not, because I've been in a situation in a social setting where we're enjoying shrooms, right? We're all having a good time. We're all just taking, 1 gram each, and 2 hours later, everything's good, right? Like everybody's happy. We're having a good time, no stress. And then you get a fucking asshole that shows up that says, hey, we're just going to we're going to eat handfuls of shrooms. So this asshole decides to take the same asshole that is
Chuck
like
Norris for everybody.
So a handful of shrooms later, this asshole completely doesn't come. He's like gone.
Oh man!
And he ruins the environment. Now everybody's in full panic mode.
Everybody's seen that guy show up.
Now you got the dark side of the shrooms.
Yeah,
it's a bad idea. No, it was a bad idea because the person didn't treat respect and decided, hey, I've done this before, and they eat 10 grams of shrooms, which by any means that could do anything to matter. Some people probably didn't do anything. Other people went to the fucking wherever, but that person don't come back for weeks. They're gone. And then people are like, holy shit. Now they got the placebo. If I take another gram, I'm gonna die.
Right.
So the perception is always, it's respect. It's one of those. You have to have intentions on what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Right.
Because everybody's had those, people that, hey, we took a couple hits of acid, and the next thing you know, we're formulating reality. And that's a dark hole to go down.
Acid can do it
especially with that. But I think psychedelics are very positive for mothers that are going through trauma. I know there's mothers that are pro this and trying to push the state. So it's okay to smoke weed and eat shrooms in front of your around your kids. Just don't make it it's a taboo thing. Weed, for example. How the fuck a kid gonna know that it's born in the last 5 years to know anything about weed unless you're punishing somebody? But they can smoke cigarettes, drink beer, and start fights. But because of the weed, but it was the weed's fault. So there's this perception.
Take out student loans that'll never be written off.
And that's
you can do way worse shit than naturally. Oh man, we won't get going down.
But that's where they're microdosing. You got to have intentions, and you got to figure out, okay, what the fuck? And I don't know. It's worked wonders for people that wrote music, books, acting. I mean, sure, there's professional athletes. The MMA fighters, they train on those shrooms and their breathing techniques. So they can be on the shrooms without, they can see the punches coming, just a quarter of a second. Like you were saying, if I could just, see this in a quarter of whatever forward, and that's part of the experience of the psychedelics, I guess.
They just did something with I don't know. It's like they were flashing a graphic between the linemen.
What's the top one?
Yeah, on the top one. I don't know if it was supposed to be there, if we were supposed to see that. If they were trying to point something out. Or if it was the supercomputer was glitching again.
I saw something a little splecked of a glitch.
Oh yeah, you can rewind it.
On this one, it's not Amazon. It's
okay. Nice. Okay. Right here.
Look at the see.
Yeah, and
I
then
saw
they did
that earlier.
it. They did it here too, right there.
Yeah.
What is that?
What?
Rewind it one more time and let's listen to the announcers. What's happening there? Like, are they talking about those guys? That they're highlighting them? Like, are they talking about those matchups? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, so rewind to the cheerleader.
Right here.
But as you can see back on the field.
A little good news here, Miami. We told so far tonight.
Don't forget Holland who's their Pro Bowl caliber safety. So they're down 2 starters, 1 secondary, 1 linebacker.
Oh wait, it
So there's a play before that.
must be after that one. Wherever that cheerleader is, they
They don't show the cheerleaders much anymore, do they?
no.
Oh, was that Taylor?
I
Damn
don't know.
it.
I guess you're way
Uh-oh.
too far back.
Man, we're stuck. We get it. We're gonna get lost in translation.
All right.
We'll probably see it again though. Good eyes.
Maybe. Yeah,
I didn't
well,
know if
well,
on the bottom screen was doing it too. You know, that'd be coincidence.
I feel like they were just highlighting the players to say which ones they were
They were
talking
doing it,
about.
like, trying
but
to circle them.
why did they do it in that way? Because you almost couldn't even notice what they were highlighting, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Keep an eye out for it.
I feel like maybe we saw a glitch. If anybody's listening, it was at like 7 minutes left. Somewhere between 7 minutes left.
Yeah, there was this glitch. It went
In
from
the
player
third-
to player.
Yeah, in the third quarter. It's like you could see... It's like they became digital.
Yeah, it was
for
like
a minute.
an EA Sport looking. type
Yeah,
thing.
right.
If it happens again, I'll be interested to see what's going on. Boy, wouldn't that be the talk of internet?
Maybe let's try to find it one more time.
Organization. Morning this week. Frank Blanchett, one of the best tight ends in history.
Let's see. So it was like 9:15. Right. It was right. Wasn't that the cheerleader?
Players for them to go back out there. He was evaluated for rib injury and a
I don't think it was this far back.
A little good news here, Miami. We told so far tonight.
There. Okay. Now here's the cheerleader. That's at 9:14. Okay. So 8 minutes, 25 seconds left. Get ready to pause it. Bottom screen. It was both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's listen to the announcers. What are the announcers saying right here? Okay, yeah, it is the announcers highlighting them. Okay. He's saying he had to block these 3 on the edge, and they were pointing out, okay. All right. We're
Boy,
not
that
seeing a
looks
glitch,
suspect.
but that's interesting that the announcers have the ability just to pop in and edit what we're seeing. Like, hey, I'm talking about these 3 guys right here, blah, blah, blah.
Well, they have.
Like he was sitting there with a pen or
well,
something.
they do. They have where they circle, and they have that.
Oh, for fuck's sake. And people are like, oh, yeah, we saw guys fucking calf pop or twist or something. Oh, we saw it. No, you fucking didn't. I just saw, like, ghost, basically. Like, digital things pop up on the screen. Like, animations from a guy pushing a fucking key on there, on the thing. Like, don't tell me that this shit is what we see is what we get. That's fucking bullshit.
Nope, it ain't that the truth, though?
Do you want to talk about student loans for a minute?
Oh, man.
All right.
I will. I'll give them hell. These goddamn student loans. Where do we start? I say we start where it should end. Yes, where it should end. Well, Kev, you're so eccentric about the education. You don't believe in education. Absolutely, I believe in the education system. I just think it's broke. I think it's absolutely absurd that we have this crisis, and what is student loan forgiving anyways? Who's going to be forgiven in this? Is it the students? Yeah, they'll be forgiven. Well, then who's going to pick up the tab? I don't know. Don't sound like anybody going to be forgiven at that point. And then on top of that, if you gonna fix this problem, you gotta stop making the problem. And that starts with stop making the loans. And, well, then it can't afford to go to college. Well, here's the issue. At this day and age, how many places really care about college degrees? I'm sure there's a few career fields that require it. But then you gotta look at trade schools. Go get your trades in. Go get what you want to do. Shit, there's so many people that would need carpenters and what else? There's electricians. There's all these other places that you could make a lot of money just going on a little trade. But if you go and trade the time for education, you better have a plan. You better figure it out, because the student loan crisis is absolutely bananas. And the rubber meets the road with that now. This is where the rubber meets the road, y'all, with the student loan crisis. It stops. It doesn't stop after the new year. It doesn't stop after this next election. It stops today. That's the only way we're going to get out of this crisis. And it is a crisis. And what we're doing is we're putting these uneducated with money management into, you're going to fail. I mean, really, how much education does it cost to make what is people making? I've heard so many different, 15, 20 bucks an hour, but they got 5 degrees. I mean, you're overeducated and you paid for all that, and what it benefits in society. If we're supposed to rely on the people to use that money to go get an education, to be an asset to our country, as far as economic growth, but damn, I mean, you want to go make $100,000, go hang out with the plumber for like a week and just figure out what he does and be like, okay, I'm here to do that. And you're not fucking college anything. Business degree, fuck that. Be an entrepreneur. There's no other fucking way around it. That's where we are with it. And it, I just don't, there's no easy way around it. Somebody's going to pay this debt, and it's going to come out of the fucking, all this, DraftKings is going to fucking pay this bill when it's all said and done with. I mean, I don't know other way around to just write a check and clear it, because it's not bankruptable, and that's where we are. So, it's what it is.
Well, my eyes have been getting opened a little more clearly on the subject of money laundering. And I think that ties into why these colleges cost money in the first place. It's a great way for people to launder money. Now think about if you're in a situation where you've got even $10,000 that you need to make legitimate somehow, like you need to launder it. Now let's say you had $100,000. Let's say you had $100 million, $1 billion. Let's say you had, a regular bank flow of money that you need to launder to make legitimate somehow. Now, how would you actually do that? You could do it through little things like buying Air Jordans and selling them on your own. You could do things like buying up PS5s when they come out and reselling them. You could buy things like art and support an artist that that's gonna just give you half of your money back or some shit like that. So that's one way that's one big way that they do it, because art can be priceless. Basically, you can really jack up the value of it. And now let's think about something like, I don't know who would actually do this, because I'm not in the situation where I'm laundering money, but let's say you need to launder a whole bunch of money, and you're buying up Jordans, you're buying up this small thing, you're buying up that small thing, and eventually it's just like, well, geez, I'm buying up all these small things. Why don't I just start some sort of fucking service like sort of like Amazon has? Or let's say, for example, and then like your strategy is going to be like, I'll be able to undercut everybody, because it doesn't matter that I'm buying this stuff and selling it at a loss. that's just the cost of me having to launder the money, right? So what would you do, Kev? Could you come up with something like, oh, let's say Temu, that TEMU service where it's like a subscription clothing service for like $60 or whatever. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like they sell clothing for way under what it's actually worth, and some of it's good, some of it's terrible. But how and why would you actually do that? It would be to launder money.
And counterfeit was another big thing that was a big popular, high demand. People that wanted to like funnel money that I'd read on the news like, oh, counterfeit shit, this, counterfeit that, and that's completely illegal, obviously. But it's when you look at the perception of if I don't have to pay retail for it and I can get it, that's why the black market will never not go away, and the government fails to realize that. Why is the black market? Because there's always corruption, and there's always ways, because the government's holding out on the fucking public. Why are you got to pay all these taxes and shit? Well, I don't see the government working with us or working for other. Why pay all these taxes for what? And then that's an example of, car washes, shoes is a big one.
Yeah.
Casinos is a big
Casinos.
one. I've heard of people that would
restaurants.
launder money through casinos through
Yeah, how is Taco John's fucking all of a sudden? How is Culver's? All that makes sense now. How are they all of a sudden went from $9 an hour to now it's $16 or $18 an hour. They basically doubled their minimum wage.
Are you talking about like ways to make extra money?
Ways that they can launder fucking money.
Launder, okay.
So if they just have a whole bunch more money now because all these other fucking places are closed down, whatever the story may be, how these big people are getting. What would they do? The people that own fucking these little fast food shops, they would be like, oh, well, let's just... It doesn't matter anyway. It's not going to really cost us anything because what we're trying to achieve is the real goal. So it's like we're buying something. So yeah, they can jack up the fucking cost or of their wage for what the purpose is. It's just like we're in this time period. Is how we're relating this to the game is things like Taylor Swift. This fucking narrative, all these patterns line up. In 3 to 5 years, we're going to see what they were actually put here for, and then we're going to be fucking kicking ourselves because, well, we won't be, because we saw it, but everybody else is going to be looking back like, well, fuck, how did we end up here? And we're going to be like, hi, Taylor Swift, Donald Trump.
Be like Taylor Swift.
COVID.
Remember her?
Yeah, NFL and gambling, legalizing all that.
What the world was that all about?
Legal for college sports athletes to make money now?
Make money.
Like, you guys don't fucking know how we got here?
Yeah. It's money controlling everything. Now, if you other ways for like,
Very
you want to
interesting.
laundering money, Airbnbs. You can launder money. You could do that first, but you got to. Here's the thing. Here's the biggest question about if anybody what's the cash only? Well, motherfucking good luck. Good luck driving in your car 800 miles to pay cash for a pair of Jordans. No, you got to send it something with your name attached. So you got to look at a perspective of there's no easy ways. You could do it for short time. You could do it for a month. You could do it for 5 years. But that, with everything being tracked, the days of car wash and laundering money, that's gone because it's no cash. It's fucking card. That card is attached to somebody's name. That card is attached to some sort of gift card that came through. That is attached physically to some sort of, and now it's there. So, I think the smart way to do to make money these days is you're gonna have to go to Antarctica and start over.
Yeah.
You're not gonna the old school ways of anything anymore. Even the old school people that have done these types of things. They came out and said these things. They're like, the old days are over. You're fucked. You cash is gone. And they ain't looking for you laundering $1,000. No, you want to get rid of $250,000 cash only. Good luck. How many? You're fucked. You can't buy a car. But you can't give cash to somebody because now it's not even the way it used to be. I'm not suggesting laundering money or anything. I'm just saying I've studied so much behind all that it was just the way of now is you're done.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's like your
No,
last.
it's just obvious. Like that's.
And I'm just trying to educate people that I want a quick dollar. Well, you better just want a quick dollar, not a quick million. You better just want $1,000 and not 100,000. You
What's
better
a great
be
way
happy
to launder fucking money, Kev? Is if you got the script.
if you have the sports
You
script.
got the fucking script. You can launder money all fucking season.
That's the problem. They don't. Fuck, you'd be
That's why
flagged
you probably have
if you
sports
hit 100%.
year-round.
If you hit 100% betting sports,
Oh my
you're
God.
fucked, bro.
It's
You
very
won't want to hit
interesting.
100%. They'll come after you and be like, "How do you know?" Nobody hits 100%. It's impossible. The biggest computer stats nerd in the world can't hit 100. It's impossible. Impossible. You know that? That is the one thing. It's impossible.
The picture is becoming
The
more
stats
clear.
is bananas.
Is
You-
this a fumble? That actually looks like what? They just stopped showing it. What the fuck? They just went to something else.
Paintings is a good one. You could sell paintings, but then
Paintings,
again,
yeah.
cash only, bro. Have fun.
Yeah, cash only.
Cash only. I'm serious. That's how it is. And the government
Gotta
came
get
and
work.
stuck their. They want to know everything. And that's fine. I have nothing to hide. Like I have nothing to hide. So it's not like I'm trying to like avoid anything. It's just I'm explaining how things are working in this real world now.
Oh,
You
yeah.
get a 21-year-old and he wants to fucking good luck, bro. Have fun. You ain't. That's like robbing a bank and
Yeah.
you ain't getting away with it. And,
Yeah, no, it's
and
it's
that's-
become so obvious to me.
obvious.
Places in town that are still open that I've always been like, how the hell do they stay open in the first place? And then they made it through COVID, and I'm like, how the hell did they make it through COVID? I'm like, oh, they're laundering money.
had to be.
Their whole fucking business is a money laundering scheme. That's
All
why
it has
they
to
have
be.
the same people working there. So, like, for fucking 15, 20 years now, it's the same people.
Oh, and by the way, COVID really changed that. When COVID hit, you couldn't do cash. You're fucking doing card. and
Oh,
you're at
yeah.
home. So that was the thing. There was places that were not accepting
That's a good
cash because you were
point, too.
touching it. Then they finally said, well, they're going to put gloves on and handle the cash. Football stadiums, cashless. Taylor Swift concerts, cashless.
Yeah.
The biggest venues in the world are cashless. So, in Bitcoin, man, that's one of those. You're volatile in what you're putting into it. So I'm saying, if you put $1 million into it, you better be handling the swift of losing $500,000, which is fine. But then it's like, well, shit, cash. I wouldn't have to worry about that. Well, like I said, good luck. Cash is gone. ATMs are gone in about, I don't know, two years. Like payphones. ATMs are
they're
going
gonna
to be
be
the
different.
payphones all over again. Nobody got a payphone. There's not a
There's gonna be
payphone
something
anywhere.
that
There's like
totally
one in a
fucking
fucking museum
changes.
somewhere. Like, this is kids, how we used to communicate. Put fucking change when cash was there. And now it's all just like, it's on a card, tracked.
Yo.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
I mean, I find it is.
It's really took
it's
under
gonna
control.
Go, it's going to go to your phones. It already is, but it's a matter of like most of the what are they called? Not tenders, but most of the establishments around here, they don't take like Apple Pay and they don't take Cash App on your phone. Like
Not
you
yet,
can't
but-
just hold up your phone to them and they'll scan it and you're good to go. But honestly, that considering how much I have to remember my fucking wallet is a pain in the ass. Like, can't I just have my phone? Like, because then I have to carry 2 fucking things in with me to the stores. And it's like, if I'm dressed comfortably, I'm wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I don't want to have my pockets be full and bulky, you know? Even I don't want my phone in there because it causes weight shift, you know, and then the clothes don't fit quite right depending on what you're wearing, you know, especially if it's sweatpants. Anyway, because then I find that I don't want to leave my phone in the car most places I go, which is probably the wrong move because then I'm never able to get like a girl's number or something, or
Yeah.
look something up on the spot if you need to, or
Uh-huh.
make a phone call. But I always bring my, you know, it is what it is. And it's like I could sit here and say that my life would be easier and more convenient if I did not have to bring a form of payment in with me. If I could just bring my phone and pay it through that, that would be like a
lot easier.
Well, I think major cities are already on told it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
But it's
just
like,
a matter of time.
at the same time, I don't want it to happen.
It's going to be just a matter of time. And that's the issue. Can't stop it. It's going to be cashless society. And that's when it's
going to start getting.
That's when it's like, okay, well,
We're going to have a problem.
there's an issue.
They're going to have to be. I don't
What's
think we can do cashless because we have too many IT issues. It's like you go.
Yeah,
It's
that
the
goes
day
down.
they go cashless is the first day. Like the business will end up not being able to take payments,
And
they'll
then
be
it's
like,
going to be
"We're not-
recognition.
we can't do
There'll
this
be
anymore."
IOU. Write you a check.
Yeah. In which, how are they going to keep track of that on
Can't.
pen and paper?
Like the old days, it's going to go back to before, and that'd be full on panic mode.
Yeah, they'll be full on panic.
Like people
so if they
will
do
start
go to
valuing
that,
things
that's-
on their own. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you need some bottled water, it's fucking $26.
Yeah, if we ever see cashless, that's the time to start buying like stock food supplies and all that type of shit, like all survival supplies, because that's
Like
then they're
stuff
gonna
that ain't
fucking
gonna
crash
expire,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Shit that's gonna be a value commodity.
Because people will still take cash. Like cash is encoded in our society enough that like if the rubber meets the road and some shit pops off, people they'll still take cash. Is what I'm trying to say.
But
They'll
I
stay
think if you
open.
limit it, it's gonna be such like a scarcity where
Yeah.
you're gonna be like,
Well, then cash will be worth more than
More.
its cash value.
it will. But
Which
then
they
it could be
also-
worth less because it's going to cost that person to convert it into whatever the coin is. And then it's like, okay, now it's 82 cents when I cash from US. But then the next day it could be the $1 worth $2. I don't know. But that is...
Oh, they've thought about.
do you know
all
why?
this.
I think ultimately why this cashless, not only to track things, but ultimately because I think they put too much cash, like this, like paper cash, in the economy, and totally inflate it. So they're like, at this point, if we have too many people with too much cash, well, now it comes to a point where it's going to balance itself out in one way. Like the government will eventually get, it could be 20 years, where it'll be like, okay, in 5 years, this cash note is expiring. You're not going to use it anymore. And that will be like hundreds. Like all your hundreds got to be converted into coin. And if you have more money, like cash that's been sitting around, well, now you have another question to answer. Because now you can't do anything with the cash at that point unless it's under like $20. And like
Right.
at that point, like what's going to be accepted 20 and 5s and 10s? The strip clubs, maybe exotic dance clubs are still taking paper cash, but even then, when they convert it over, it could only be worth 50 cents at that point.
Shoot.
So I think this paper currency overseas is different. For some reason, they control their physical paper, but I think this is some sort of transition to like and then people are going to be at the end. Well, I got X amount of cash. If I turn it all in, I can get 20% of it. Well, that's better than nothing because this is going to expire and it's not going to be worth anything.
Yeah.
Kind of like oil money overseas. Used to be this paper currency. Now it's fucking just like it's like monopoly money. It's not used.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's were you ever thought about that? But I've always thought about like they want to control every little penny.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
in a bracket where it's like, well,
The supercomputer cannot track all scenarios of cash exchange. It can't predict all of those. It has to do.
but they
a
can
certain
if they
amount
can
of
cut it in
guessing.
half, they're gonna be successful at whatever they're fucking manipulating in this society of tracking.
Yeah, but if you can remove that from being on the
You have to be ahead of the
yeah,
game.
if you can have cash,
You better be
then
ahead of the
you
game.
can remove it from the digital computer's tracking system for a current amount of time. Not necessarily very far away from the computer's tracking system because it's keeping track of it through your voice calls and everything you say and do. But once that goes away, it's
Too many casinos were monitoring that with laundering money.
yeah.
You know, it used to be cashless, right? Cash was where you could put money in a slot machine or whatever you're doing. A blackjack table, you got to hand the cash. That's like a transaction that's recorded per se. Like, okay, you bought it for $5,000 and you played one hand, you cash out. But you put it in a machine. That's basically if you have a card in there, that's all tracked. But now it's getting to the point where you got to go put $1,000 in cash into like the cashier, and they give you back it's got your information on their motherfucker. So now it's like, if I want to dump 20 grand into a casino at one night, but I end up either gonna cash out even, but I got a paper trail that says the casino. They no more paper trail because that motherfucking is tracked. That's where I'm talking is cashless. When I saw slot machines that were cashless, I said this is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
No more, you're done. There's no way around it. And like I said, I'm not really promoting all that stuff. I'm just trying to put in realistic exactly what has changed in all this. You know?
Yeah.
Is it good or bad? I don't know.
Well,
I think you're always going to have something, but if they're going to try to minimize it, cut it in half, that's going to be pretty successful, if you ask me.
Yeah, you can combine that with the things like being able to check into a hotel room without ever having to like check in with the front desk.
Imagine you want to be anonymous and like go to Vegas and hide and fit into the public there and try to get away with shit.
Right.
Like you're trying to hide your identity, you're done. Those days are fucked. That used to be the old school days. There'd be like people would go there and never come back.
You could get by with it like,
and you could go to get a hotel
could
with
create
cash
a
and be
fake-
like, I'm renting this for the year. Here's cash, and you're okay. But now,
Well, if you could create a fake digital persona somehow and
a
somehow
fake
get by with
AI
that,
identity.
I mean, maybe that's gonna be the next thing is like you're able to have like a bunch of fake shit, but then who knows? I don't know. We opened the avenue to like so many just terrible bad things. That's an
But
interesting stadium.
It's on top of the sports and Taylor Swift and all that. It's just, it's what it is. And I'm at the point where the old times are gone for people. The old timers are done with this betting on sports. They're fucking fed up with it. They don't like it. And you know what? That drives away them. Now they don't want to be on their apps. They don't want to be. They want a fucking old school way.
Yeah.
Call up a buddy. Hey man, I'm about $20 on the game.
Yeah.
See you later. I don't fucking pay the government anything. We need to do all that for. But those days are gone. You know? It's it. This is it. This is it for the rubber meets the road with the fucking sports. This is the season. I never thought I'd see it, but it is. This is end for this season for sure. Next season, we'll see what happens. What's narrative? I don't know. Can it be any bigger? Not a fucking chance. I got to keep Taylor around.
Yeah, they just stopped the whole play for an offsides call. When normally don't they run the play through?
I don't know. What depends on what the script they want to do, I guess.
Like the quarterback just stopped and was like, "Well, there was a flag thrown.
There's a
We're
flag.
just stopping."
Offsides, maybe.
It's like, how come you didn't? Because you can always decline the penalty.
I don't know. Maybe they just said, we'll take the 5.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. Let's get a check in on him. Where's Troy? We haven't seen him.
Well, the Dolphins are down by 3, so they do need to score again, or at least, a field goal here, which now they're in. Ouch, that might have hurt the hamstring a little bit.
Really?
Taking a helmet right to the bottom of your thigh. Ouch.
There, the Talking Dead. There it is.
There they are. All right, let's go, Pack.
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go.
They're on about the 17-yard line. 3rd and 11. Pot. Yeah, I was like, he's getting sacked. Jeez. Come on, why did I take the Packers? Fuck.
Yeah. The Packers, I talked earlier how they were the publicly owned
Yeah.
football team.
Yep.
They are all in Wisconsin about the Packers. It's the most talked about thing at their news stations. Like for example, at the night news, they'll be like, okay, we're gonna get an update on the Packers, and they'll talk about the Packers. And then they'll be like, and then we're going to go to weather. And
He
then
missed another fucking field goal, Kev.
Not shocking, man.
Holy shit. Wow, alright. That was a 48-yard attempt. Okay.
And they're just so die-hard about these Packers.
Yeah.
And their news is literally like, if there's a serial killer on the loose, like it's like 15 minutes past the Packers, like, and then at the ending they're like, okay, now we're gonna talk about the Packers next week. Like they talk that's their shtick, and I get it. You don't see any other state that's like that. I've been in Milwaukee. I've been in and watched their It's really all day, even off season. The spring training week. They talk Packers every fucking. It's their livelihood.
That sounds.
It's like the president on the fucking news every day. It's just the Packers, and that's just the state.
Sounds very Norwegian, doesn't it?
It's
like,
very.
what do you have guns here? We don't need guns. What do you think? We're just gonna go and shoot people in the face like you Americans do? What?
Yeah, they're die hard, and they're owned by the public, and that's why.
That's what it was.
That's why.
I watched another movie called "There's Something in the Barn," and it's this American family moves to Norway, and there's like an elf in the barn, but the elf is like, I don't remember the whole story. The elf gets a little malicious. Let's just say that. The whole thing is about like coming to peace. But they try to bring the cops in, and they're like, "Do you have a gun? Do you have a gun?" Because the elf's like trying to kill him, right? And they're like, "What do we need a gun for? We don't go and just shoot people in the face like you Americans. We still believe that talking things out is the best way. We negotiated the peace treaty between Palestine and Israel." And right, they're playing on this Palestine-Israel thing. Like, this movie was made probably before that before this happened. So it's like they're foreshadowing this now. It's like the goddamn movies that are coming out now know the script too. So they're like it's always been this way, but it's like they're foreshadowing what was gonna happen.
They did. Back to the Future 2 did a fucking great job with that one.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Sports gambling, legal. But that's Biff is the fucking NFL. Who hovered above him?
Excuse me.
Do you think
It's
you know how many
bizarre.
casinos? They're just the numbers. They're so good at manipulating and getting the money at the right time when nobody sees it. That's like how this shit is.
Being good at manipulating numbers.
Look at the numbers. Look at how manipulated what's going on.
This was a great WWE thing. You see he tried to lift him and he couldn't do it the first time. So they reset and did it again. Mm-hmm. Remember we saw in it's such a great example of how the script works for the NFL, because it shows you like, hey, even if they make a mistake in the NFL, like he just slips right there and falls down, they could throw a flag. Like, roughing the quarterback. Somebody led with the head.
Now it's first and goal if there's like offsides from the other team.
Or they only ever wanted a field goal anyway.
And he's like, I'm just going to
like whatever it was. So yeah, slipping and falling, no problem.
Now that could have been an accident, and they can make up for it.
Yep.
Like we're going to get 3 anyways. We didn't need a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like,
God forbid if they needed
a
touchdown, we'll see a trick play.
Trick play.
Like if they needed it.
Yeah. Or they just put offsides and move it down for a touchdown.
Or they'd have thrown a flag and they'd have done it again.
And if he misses they'll throw many flags until he makes it.
Yeah.
Because how many has he missed now? 3?
Well, this guy hasn't.
Not
the fucking Green Bay guys. I think he's missed 2 of them now.
I get him. If you see the color scheme, get you a little.
I was gonna say the color scheme on these 2 games is actually
And the TV settings are different. Like there's more color. It's just strange.
It is
that's the part of manipulation. Why do you think the colors? You have to train that shit because that's another
We almost need like another an 85-inch TV, like all that OCLD, super crisp or whatever it is, to see what it looks like on that. Yeah. Just to compare like how they're manipulating that too.
Or we could just get one of those little TVs they used to review on the field when you got a fucking 60-inch screen TV that everybody can see.
Yeah.
On a fucking 80-inch, you can see fine, but those little tiny ones.
Why don't they do like interactive replays? That gives you a great idea. Like when the refs go into
that little replay you
Little
can
replay.
have like on your
It's the-
on your
it's a li-
ESPN
it's-
app.
it's a little
It
fucking-
pops up and shows all the viewers the same
I
thing,
know,
right?
it's old school, like,
Only if you subscribe.
yeah, like you gotta fucking
Monthly
no shit.
subscription that you
Like-
could get
like you
the
could
head,
pay
they could call it heads up replay.
Yeah, and then or the mic'd up. You can hear what the fuck's going on in the mic.
Oh god, you could
You-
sell so
You couldn't do the
much
refs though.
money.
You can't hear the refs, but you can hear the players.
Or you can
Talk.
hear a version of it.
Yeah.
Like what they could just change
And
it.
they do that,
They
mic'd
can
up
change
the
it.
players, but they tell the players you're mic'd up, so don't be fucking
Yeah,
saying
here's
any.
your code.
Don't be saying any fucking words.
Right. Here's your script for
So they
tonight.
have to program
They
themselves to not fuck
They
up.
practice their lines.
They practice, bro. That's
How do they think they do these?
Why? 'Cause
Like they
there's-
practice
it's
all
just-
these plays.
if
They're
they
all
keep-
scripted plays.
because
like these
in-
are professional script followers.
When-
That's
when-
what they are.
when they
They're not out
They-
there thinking on their feet.
they're
Remember
but that's
the one
the thing.
we played
when,
at a playground?
when everybody is calm in a very chaotic environment, that's where the public comes in. We're the ones that are in charge of being in fucking full on
Like why did they
panic
kick?
mode.
Why did this kick land on the 25? This punt. It wasn't a punt. It was like a kick after a score.
Wow.
He kicked it to the fucking 25. He could have just kicked it out of the back of the end zone. Now the Titans are already on like the 30 or 40 yard line.
I don't know.
You see what we're saying? How they can, whoops, the quarterback slipped, and instead it was supposed to be a fumble, and the Titans were, they can fucking. I'm just trying to show an example.
I know. I see it.
Yep, this is all.
Like I said, they can manipulate and everything.
Exactly.
Let's see what he's yelling about.
Yo, Kev, I don't have to work tomorrow. That's what's great about this night.
That's good.
Any little bit of tiredness, it's 10 o'clock. I'm sucking. Slurping on this coffee like it's fucking 10 in the morning. Anyway.
It's always good having a weekday off.
Yeah, I don't have to work till Friday. It's been nice having a lot of time off at the end of the year.
There you go. That's what it's all about.
It's a good industry to be in at the end of the year. A lot of people are doing the same thing in this industry. They're taking time off,
Yeah.
spending
Absolutely.
times with their family. They work their ass off all year.
And Christmas falls on a Monday, which is a strange
A lot
day.
of people are doing their traveling because, it's the end of the year. They're doing their family trips. Kids got some time off from schools. The weather's changing, so they're trying to get down south.
People are traveling like they weren't 3 years ago.
Gas is actually under $3 again.
Strange. Everybody's happy. See, everybody's calm, but they gotta can't be calm forever. Something going to stir up the mix.
They got to keep them calm enough.
Oh, watch this one.
to,
Here's a good one. They want to test America. Shut the airline industry down for a week.
Well, they got to keep them
Shut
calm
that
enough
thing
to
down.
inject the
They
warning
shut it down
aircraft.
for 24 hours in this panic mode. Do
Yeah.
that for a week and keep people stranded, and then see what happens.
You need another COVID to do something,
Something.
like that.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I can't imagine it's going to be.
I think they're
anything
going to
that's
do
good.
some sort of round
They
two
want-
because
want-
why would
want-
they waste the
They want
round
to lock
two?
everybody down for the election.
It
for the
probably
coming
won't
up.
be the
Is this
same.
a year of a lockdown again?
It
I can
probably
see it.
won't
January,
be.
February. Everybody comes back for holidays. Everybody's sick. And then we started out April, May, June, July 4th canceled. And then football's canceled again. Thank God.
Yeah.
Like, let's do that.
Well, I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off like they did last time, but I think they'll want to. They'll do
Scare
like a
tech. mini
lockdown. They'll try, but it won't be
People
as
are gonna buy it.
successful. And
But if they're 10% successful, that's still successful.
But yeah, they're gonna be successful to some extent, and it will
And
consolidate.
it'll depend on
even
what
more.
demographic and what they want to impact. It could
Yeah.
It could be the airline industry. It could be the
And maybe I'm wrong. Like
internet. It could be
maybe they won't try to push the lockdown thing again. They'll just
maybe after the next
they'll
election.
spread this idea, and it'll be like I don't know, y'all.
I try not to overthink that stuff because
Yeah, it's
I'm still
easy to
trying to
overthink
comprehend things before 1930. But gosh, to stuff in the future, it's actually kind of overwhelming to think about that stuff because we're advancing in our this AI and all this other stuff. It's becoming too advanced, and it's going at such a steady pace or fast pace that we ain't gonna keep up with it. And those who keep up with it are gonna be such far ahead of everybody that it's gonna be too overwhelming. And that's very dangerous to think about fear that's going to be input with whatever the next chapters for whatever their story is going to be. and whatever they want, how things will play out. I don't know. Chaos doesn't seem to solve anything, but it sure as shit puts a good storyline into things.
I like the way you put that because you put it in a way where it's like the people who see it, the people who are paying attention and learning, you get so far ahead of the rest of the rest of the pack that it's like, what do you do? Where do I go? You feel all alone. It's very isolating. You feel like Ben Kenobi in the fucking cave. Like, is how you put that is like, I've thought about it that way so many times because it was like my experience and like, I guess you could call it like kind of my awakening was like, I got to a point where I had to like come back to society. I had to reintegrate, and it was not easy. It's still something like I have to put effort into, and it's something that, like you said, you get to a point, you're so far ahead, you have to come back and like you talk to people and expose them to information and see who else like catches on and can like see where you got to and you can see them where you are and where you've been type of thing. Like I could have a real like a pretty in-depth conversation about that exact thing, especially in terms of like spirituality and
we gotta have a contingency plan 3 steps ahead in case of this and that just comes from experience from just world traveling.
Oh yeah,
a lot of that has to do with a lot because a lot of people ain't seen the world.
That's where you get
shit.
it.
I seen more European countries than I have the United States, and I don't mean a fucking airport in Atlanta, Georgia, or an airport in San Francisco. I'm talking like
around the world.
Like,
yeah,
I've been to more European countries.
I've been to countries.
Shit, I'd have to I'm gonna sit down one of those times, just go through every one, and I'm gonna figure out how many because there's too many. I could be off by 30.
Yeah.
But just European countries, think about that. It's more states. So should I stand and go see all the states? I don't know, man. I'm kind of like.
You could, but
I
point
know Vegas. Vegas is like the world close that I can relate to, like worldwide. Nobody speaks English, and I can fucking relate.
You can get a pretty good snapshot of the world from traveling the United States, but then not too. Whereas, point I wanted to make is traveling, like can really can change your perspective and outlook and everything.
It's so many different cultures, and the way people worry about the little things in this culture.
Yeah.
Go to Cambodia and see what third world looks
exactly.
like. See what
but
that's the thing.
See it.
You can't put
it
it into reality until you see it. And when you see it, you're like, that's not possible.
It's not like they tell me on the television. It's like it's normal here. It's like everywhere else almost. It's just a little bit different.
And that's an example of like people see, and then you're just like, holy shit.
And what I ended up doing, I was like, well, I guess I ended up looking at it from a pattern perspective. What are the people doing, and why are they doing it? Well, they got to eat. They got to clothe themselves. They got to shelter themselves.
They got to reproduce. That's like the 4 fucking things in life.
They communicate and educate and healthcare. It's kind of type of thing. So it's like everywhere is gonna be. All the people are gonna be doing relatively the same thing because we all operate in the same ways. So that was my experience from traveling in Europe a little bit. Definitely not as extensive. Traveling the rest of the world as you, but I've traveled a little bit in Europe,
and that's enough for you to see like what I've 6 continents, and I've seen it. I've seen every type of different.
Well, and then I've traveled the States as well. I've been to most of them. I haven't been to the Northeast yet, but eventually I'll get there. And what I learned definitely was even down in Georgia, Louisiana, Florida, to Seattle, to California, to the Midwest, the differences seem so big in our minds, where the Southern Bayou culture would just be such a culture shock for some people, but you go down there and you're like, actually no, it's just their native tongue is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So their lingo's a little bit different, and then some of the food combinations are a little bit different, but ultimately, it's exactly the same. It's like the people are exactly the same. It's like it's all the same, you guys.
It is.
And one thing on top of that is, I don't want to go because I want to stay on the theme of like, what if it's all fake?
Yeah.
It's really true, and I think that it is. We get installed this state of mind where it's like we think that we're so smart now. And what were we talking about a little bit on last episode? I mentioned where like the information doubling and how long it would take to do that.
Oh.
And have we seen people get twice as smart because information is doubling in the world so frequently now? No, we haven't seen that. And the point I'm trying to make here is we're probably no smarter than any person that lived however far back, like hundred thousands of years ago, even into like different species and like being able to think differently. Remember what the last episode was about being a part of a galactic community. Well, being a part of a galactic community means that you have the same thought patterns and behavioral patterns. You have the same moral tenets or the same foundation and principles. And why that's important to keep in mind is because if we have this illusion that right now is, and our state of mind is like more advanced than some other point in time or some other species, we've got it all wrong entirely. Like we've got we're not even playing on a chessboard. We're trying to play chess on a Russian roulette board where there's just a gun and bullets, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just boom, boom, you're dead.
Pretty much.
And there's no actual chess. So it's like, I think that, you know, even the baseline of what we're like, when you got into, we don't even know anything, pre-1930, pre-anybody that we can talk to alive and verify, like, we just don't know. I think we're all being told a real fucking story here. And look
There was a break. There was some break, and it could have been a week. It could have been whatever many years. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was something, and
Something.
and then people came together like, hey, let's formulate this fucking story, and like people bought it. People buy it. No different than any other. Like you're programmed into a society that's already been a stable failure.
Yeah.
That nobody just doesn't want to believe any different, and that's fine. I'm completely fine with that. It's just that we're starting to get a shift of people that are starting to go against a lot of things, and I don't think the government is ready, because the other countries don't dare go against any. Like you go to you go to Korea, China, any of those dictator countries. Like you think you're gonna go up against the Queen of England? Good fucking luck. We got Taylor Swift that's taking over the globe. That's where the direction is going, and whether I just don't know, man. It's doubling too fast. Absolutely, information, and if you're not up with it, you're just gonna. Well, and people are gonna wonder. The people are gonna figure out what's going to happen or what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be on both sides. Yeah, what happened? That's what happened, and then I'll be like, well.
You can be like, that's what happened, and I called most of it.
I called it, and
fucking
then now
here,
now,
and we've gotten a lot of it
and now-
documented
now-
on a lot of these podcasts.
Now everybody wants to come pull the arrows out of your back from shooting at you. Like they want to put the fucking spears and stab the back of the truth tellers and the truth believers and seekers
Shoot the
that are
messenger.
already seeked it, but other people aren't ready to apparently get on where we're going as a
it kind
global future.
of circles back to that galactic community citizen thing. Like, are a lot of these people watching the NFL or just function in their daily lives? Do they really even have a clue? Like I said, like, do they probably think that getting a vaccine is fucking being technologically advanced and healthy. Like you're somehow beating a wild virus out there, like infecting humans and dropping,
But a lot
like,
of
can you
people
imagine believing that?
of people were forced to get that. Let's be real about that. You lose your
Oh,
job if you don't
that's
get the
fucking
vaccine.
true,
But here's
too.
the thing: that's control.
How
That's
many
where you
people
have
in
no
the
options,
military?
and you're just another product of whatever experiment they're going to use. Now, can people say, well, I'll just quit. Fine. Lose your benefits, whatever you got to do. But the people that absolutely cannot get out of it is people that are in the government sector, in the medical field. Like, they got to, like, get this whatever.
Yeah.
Just to be like, you got to lead by example.
Government, military, medical.
All of them. They probably get shut up with all
probably
this
education,
stuff,
too.
all this stuff. And if they're like, okay, well, out of that 1% died, we don't know. All experiments with animals and all this other stuff. But that's the risk that people have to take when they're owned by an entity where you can't fight. You can't go against it. But in the corporate world, you can. But you're just gonna follow the corporate like ladder and leaders, and like it's a failure. And that's why entrepreneurship is always like kids now. They all want to fucking do fucking everything from home, everything with a fucking electronic device and make money. That's the dream. The reality is it's not going to happen. Just like NFL, professional athletes, you got to get into like some sort of system that says, "Hey, we're gonna have you guys do all this shit and make fake money." And it's just going to promote like everybody can do that. It's like Chris Moneymaker in poker when he won. Everybody with the 10,000 thought they could win the main event. It's fucking a false. And poker's one of those booms that was completely rigged. But
Is that Carson Daly on the?
nope. On the poker.
No, just on the WWE one. It was. They're throwing darts now. Hold on, it'll show. They're right there.
Oh yeah.
That dude, not aged.
Nah.
That's Carson Daly when MTV first came out. He doesn't look any different. A little bit bigger.
Carson Daly. Yeah. So yeah, that's
Okay,
just
maybe
the changes.
there's some gray hair there. Maybe I'm just not seeing it yet. Maybe the spellcraft hasn't quite set in yet. The longer you watch it, the more it shows up, type of thing. Like, I don't know. It's weird like that. Like the placebo thing, you can kind of see what you want to see sometimes.
What do the Dolphins do?
Looks like the Dolphins, yeah, they did score a touchdown here.
Isn't that excessive celebration?
Yeah, it should be.
Where's
On
the flags?
sportsmanlike conduct and all that
You
shit.
can't point at a player. That's a flag.
But now it's like when they're supposed to
They're
do
supposed
it.
to celebrate. They don't throw flags.
Yeah.
Like, well, how hypocritical is the NFL? Like, it's week to week.
Oh, they're gonna challenge it.
It'll be.
Well, they're not gonna call it back anyway. Nope, they're just gonna kick the extra point and move on.
9-8-7-6. Oh man, you know what? A touchdown would have set. Not wait, hold on. 9-8-7-6. The spread's 14.
Spread's 14.
That would have been 13 with the touchdown, but they would have went for a 2-point conversion. It would have landed on 14.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what they're
Green
doing.
Bay might have just scored a touchdown.
Let's get a check out on the Talking Deads over there.
Oh, it must have been ruled incomplete.
We got to check in on Joe Buck
One
and
foot.
Troy Aikman.
Oh, he never got a second foot down. Extra point kick was good. So 13-20 on the Titans-Dolphins game. Dolphins are up. 5 minutes and some odd seconds left. 21 Giants. Packers 16. Under 2 minutes left. 1:55.
Spread
Packers
is
are
6.
again on like the 16
The
yard
spread's
line.
6 on the Giants.
The spread is 6 on the Giants. Yeah, that's right.
Getting
First
6.
down, Green Bay.
The Packers are favored by the 6. That's what I see.
Yep, yeah.
And the
yeah.
Giants are beating them outright. Here comes the Packers to win and not cover. Packers on a trail back. We've all seen this roll.
Wait,
The
it's
longest
Packers
2 minutes in
minus 6?
sports is motherfucking NFL.
I thought it was Giants -6. It's Packers
Packers.
-6. Oh, okay, that's right. You did say
Remember
that.
you said you was taking the Packers and then Packers to win, not to cover, and the under.
I
So you're on pace.
in my mind I thought it was Giants -6, but that's okay. I think just what I said. I'll
But
take
then
what
the-
I said, no problem. Yeah.
The touchdown.
Maybe I'll get a trifecta here out of some dumb luck.
I'd say under. Depends on what they want to do with it.
I kind of like having 2 games actually at the same time instead of the staggered start thing. I don't mind having 2 of them at the same time and covering that. I'm sure we could probably handle like 6 or 7 games at the same time, but
College football.
it would be nice to have them at the same time.
No, see
You know,
everything.
like they all starting at 6:30 or 7:15, whatever it
Mhm.
is. That's what I mean by at the same time, everybody. Both of these games don't really. Look at this one. Look at this celebration.
I
They're
know.
just like, we're
They're
gonna
acting
go.
out of control.
Yeah, this is like. I feel like I'm watching basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that South Park-esque show? Oh, what happened?
Oh my God, he blocked the ball.
So he caught it in the end zone, but didn't catch it because the guy came up behind him and like knocked it out too quick. No, that's a touchdown, dude. That's a touchdown because once you have possession right here,
Yeah.
if he knocks it out, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
That doesn't matter.
That's a touchdown.
Yep.
Both feet.
Down.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And they're going for the.
Oh wait, now they're gonna look at it now. It's like, oh, they were gonna play it through, but now they're gonna do an official review.
See what I mean? Like, imagine before.
Why
this-
is it? It's just perfectly timed after they show us that replay. So now we're all thinking about it and come to that conclusion. We just got played, Kev.
I know.
Yeah.
We knew
Dang
it.
it.
We know what's going on here. That's fucking touchdown. Bullshit. Not a chance. You see what they were trying to do? They were trying to get away with it.
Notice it's number 18 for the 666, and then you add a 9, and you're getting 27, which was the defender, which is, a 7 and 2 is the number 9.
Oh man, I'm not in the number.
The numbers on that shit, dude.
It adds up. But this is questionable
insane.
now. They're saying they don't
Which
know.
the numbers are something that the supercomputer does, and once I figure out what it does, we could be able to predict like who's gonna make touchdown passes. Who's gonna win
I
the.
think Madden already figured that out.
We could do that at some points, maybe not like every time. I think
Madden.
y'all are getting what I'm saying. Yeah.
See what I mean? How is that not a catch? And if the fucking
Oh, wow, they
you
reviewed
know what
it
happens
too,
if he
and they
fucking
said
fumbles?
no?
If he fumbles and turns it over, that completely changed the whole narrative of the game right there. It was blatantly a catch and touchdown.
Yeah, that was
I
definitely.
mean, how
a
is that
touchdown.
not?
So what's their point here? Are they milking stress and maybe some rage?
Keep it with the field?
For
No,
what kind
they
of
need
outcome?
Packers to win. Now the referee's down. No, can't verify it's a touchdown.
All for them to throw a touchdown to the same guy.
Oh, you know what? You know what that might have... Was it the same guy?
Yeah, it was the same number 18. Oh yeah, and he crossed the pylon with the ball. 1, 2 feet. You could review that and maybe yeah. 1, 2. Oh, that was yeah. He's in. Okay, that looks like a Green Bay
Why
touchdown.
would they do that whole narrative just to fucking do the same thing?
Was it to waste time?
I was thinking maybe some player prop, like, will this player get a touchdown? But if it's the same player, that was irrelevant. So I
I feel
don't know.
like it's a time thing.
It's just what it is, man. I don't know. Why would that matter though?
I mean, I know
Seconds?
that like because it's a computer that we're dealing with. It needs certain things to happen, and it's already simulated it out.
It's like some
And
shit out
this
of
is
Madden.
what it's chosen. Is
It's
like,
gotta
well, let
be-
me run one more.
It's got to be the Madden algorithm.
Yeah, like
Has to be.
Yeah, and it's like, no, just let them run another play. They'll score. It's like something's going on where it's like, no, they wouldn't.
Why would a 2-point would have made no difference? Oh wait, that would have made it 3. I get it. Never mind.
Yeah.
So they were okay. But
So yeah, that's
but
the
now-
right move.
now what's the narrative? Do they end the game on this? The Green Bay doesn't cover. I like it, and the under, and you win 3-0 on that. That would be but we don't know. There's too much time left. That's a
Yeah,
problem.
now this is the narrative. They get us in this suspended state. Like, oh, they're gonna have one more drive to make, in the home team stretch. It's the good old home team stretch.
Yeah.
Like
Like
gotten that like every
like-
game almost.
like living on
like
a
they
prayer.
always set that up.
We got one last chance.
They always a little pattern occurred in disc golf this season. They always had like some almost sort of dramatic narrative or an obvious lack of one. And
Makes sense.
well, and the point, a good example here is the Minnesota game that you picked last week, where it was a push on a 3-0 game. It still didn't matter. The same pattern occurred where it was like they got you locked into the suspense on the home team stretch.
Like Vikings, especially with their comeback, like the last couple of weeks, 3-0, huh?
Yeah.
Strange. That almost ended 0-0 tie.
It's like,
You know what? That game could have ended the first 0-0 in history. That would have been a narrative.
It's
And the
been
game
a
ended
Monday
0-0.
night game.
And in the
Well, it's been a Monday night trend anyway.
Absolutely.
I guess because I don't want to
been a
generalize too
trend.
far. Yeah.
But if that game would have ended 0-0, that would have been I've seen everything.
How does that even happen?
It would have. It would have been the first. It's strange.
Professional athletes not being able to score.
3-0. Field goal.
I don't know. That's kind of like saying Elvis in his prime never got laid.
Yeah.
I'm probably right about that or something too. No. That wouldn't make any sense.
Now it's a Taylor Swift narrative.
The boyfriend collector.
Oh, that Olympic girl you was talking about.
Simone Biles?
Yeah, she's dating the Packer guy.
Yeah.
So you're right. There's a global influence with all these athletes and the.
Yep. Because
And
who
Simone
else,
Biles is not
who
a
else
singer.
would you
She's
want
an
it to be?
athlete.
Simone
She's
Biles.
a gymnastics
She's
athlete.
the only other
she's a
one, like-
worldwide. She's a worldwide.
That has like some
influencer.
for yeah,
The
because
gymna-
she's
girl,
an
and now-
Olympics,
Now she's
right?
merging with Taylor Swift.
And she's black.
And she's black.
So it's perfect for
And
their
she's dating
narrative.
she dating and now everybody want to date whatever these girls. They want all these football players. Like we're going back in time.
But
like,
they get them
in reverse,
music
but in a
and-
bad way.
What do they get them in? What's that? Music and gymnastics. So music and dancing.
Taylor Swift and Carmen.
That's a perfect synergy.
It is, and it's working. They got to add one more. Things come in threes. What's the third thing? I don't
Well,
know.
the third thing is that Taylor's white and Simone is black. That's the third thing. Because the first thing is music. The
Holy
second
fuck.
thing is dancing.
Giants are
The
gonna
third
walk
thing
off.
is that,
Something.
yeah,
They're gonna walk off field goal here.
that's at least 3 right there. There's probably 3 more, and then 3 more after that. It's like a set of 3 for like little synergies
And then at the bottom of the organization pyramid, you got like 2,187 on 7 generations down. 3 who get 3 is 2,187 on 7 levels. Imagine that 3, 9 down the level. That's how many are below that. That's just your baseline. There could be commas and zeros included. I don't know.
right, and exponents. And
That's the NFL structure right there. 7 generations down. You got 2,187 people involved in this league. And you got 2 people controlling the whole motherfucker.
yeah.
And that's your pyramid.
You got 3 different chip manufacturers.
2,187.
two different clone hybrids.
It is, man. They
And
partnered-
only, of course, one authentic set of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Only one. They don't need a clone. That we don't really need them in the future. You think that the Swifties kids, when they get older, they're gonna want to hear Joe Buck and Troy Aikman? Fuck no. They want to hear like
Siri.
Yes.
Alexa.
Joe, and I think their season's come to an end. I think they've had enough Taylor themselves. Time to move on, then, old gentlemen. The good times are gone. I can't see some of these old timers not have some sort of disgust over how this has evolved. Like, this is where we've come in the NFL.
Yeah, they're the ones who turned it off.
But they got these people that are like old athletes that have to like play the part.
But yeah, now they're
Now they're the retired puppets.
yeah, I don't know. It's got to be an interest. I mean, my parents are a decent example. I don't think I can tell them pretty much anything on my mind, and you know, I'd say they're pretty exposed to like all the shit that we know and been told is a lie to some extent, and the shit on the news being a lie. From a particular sports, I think people are in a state right now, Kev, where they either turned from it and they're like, I'm just done, and that hasn't faded yet. So they haven't made their re-entry.
Gosh, makes sense.
Or, you know, well, not or, but, and there's some other probably behaviors that are noteworthy as well, where it's like maybe
Wow, man.
maybe they left the NFL, but they're paying attention to college, or maybe even high school now a little more.
I don't know, man. I think the whole system's jaded. Because who wants to go to a high school game and watch a 60-0 game?
It's just interesting to think about.
Unless you're like kids are like the star players and they're going to be into this.
So what's happening here? The Giants are going to win with 2 seconds left?
Yeah, knock off a chip shot.
Oh, shit. Wow, Giants win at home.
Damn, Green Bay got fucking backdoored by the field goal.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And the over covered. Fucking A, dude. How quick that
Oh,
changed.
really?
How quick that changed.
Oh, wow. Good thing I don't have skin in this game.
Yeah, over under was
That would've been a
37.
bad one for
37, bro. That fucking over went by 9 points.
Oh, wow.
And then the Dolphins game went over also.
Oh, that one's over too. Oh, no, wait.
Yeah,
No,
they got
2
2
minutes,
minutes.
40 seconds. I was like, hold on. Yeah, I didn't think that one
I
was
just want to
over.
make sure Joe Buck and Troy were still alive.
Wow. Crap on the Giants comeback there.
That's
But
how
hey,
quick
why
it changed,
not?
bro. Last 30 seconds fucking changed the whole scenario. Like you said, here we come marching on the field. When the Saints come marching in.
Yep. The good home team drive. End drive. That's it, man.
And do you notice how that touchdown that Green Bay should have had really influenced the whole thing?
And
See what I mean?
the 2 field goals that
That's something
Green
strange
Bay
there.
should have had.
See, it influenced the over,
Yep.
influenced the spread.
And all the fucking live betting too. That was one thing I didn't talk about this cast that I want to get to in a little more detail in the future, is this how they're manipulating the live betting with the nothing burger games. Because there's a reason we're seeing what we're seeing, why it's happening. It's not just like the supercomputer said, sleep at the wheel here. No, there's live betting occurring. And
Millions of dollars.
it made me think of it when I made the comment last episode where I was like, well, how come, people don't just go and bet a bunch against what they bet at the beginning to cover their ass when the game starts to shift, right? So, like, how does the supercomputer protect itself from live betting? It does it from setting the score up just like that. How this New York Giants Green Bay Packers game went out, how the over just hits. Because if those 2 field goals had went through, people would have started live betting, nope, the over, take the over, take the over. But no, the over's not going to hit until the last fucking second.
People chase their money,
and
it becomes so lopsided that they're fucked.
what do we got going here? We've already hit the over up there too.
But yeah,
We're
we'll
at
discuss
48.
that,
But that
in the
was
future for sure.
Yeah.
I can tell you all about live betting and how it seems so simple, but
Because it seems like it'd be easy to cover your losses if you just went and like, okay, nope, I'm gonna lose, so let's live bet the amount.
well, you could if you hedged it. If you hedged it exactly right. If the spread was -5, and you wanted to get you just have to bet on the other side, but you might have to pay a big fee. There's always a fee when it comes to like, you're gonna pay something, a tax on a.
Okay.
Unless you get it at an underdog price and then you're getting value.
So let's plan to add that
We'll
to
add
next
that.
season.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
I want to
live
add that
betting.
and document it because I want to do like
The-
I want to be aware of it while we're watching the games.
Yeah.
So where I would be like, okay, now let's say I go in
'Cause
and
look
put
at-
in a live bet right now to hedge my losses based on what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
And then I want to keep
Because
track.
look at how much betting could occur in the next 2 minutes. I mean, look at there's 2 minutes 24
2
left.
minutes.
And
Shoot.
I mean, there could be millions of dollars that are exchanged on the matter of moving the plays. Just if they really want to bury money, but I don't know if they would do that for one key game, but I know for other games they fucking definitely fuck that. Look at how much money was lost in just this last minute of this other game.
Yeah.
And how do you hedge on the other side? That's something that I'll show you next. We'll pull up live betting and I'll show you this is how it works and how would you do that. And
Because how you would have had to do it here, it would have been the home team drive. Just after I was saying like all this stuff about the home team drive,
yeah.
like how these
They come back and
Monday
now it's a
night had
narrative.
Monday
and
night
now the
ceremony.
crowd's happy. Everybody's ready for next week.
And why would they do it on a Monday night?
And-
because there's only 1 or 2 games being played, so
And-
the betting is more bettors are on one game.
and it's
So the live
and
betting
it's,
would be
and,
different.
and it's at home. So you want to keep
And
the
it's
home
at
crowd
home.
in a primetime game,
That's right.
and that just works for the.
Oh, and you want to keep them coming back because they're over there 4
more,
and 8.
More people.
Attendance was probably down if they don't.
More people bet on Green Bay than they did on.
And again, we saw the pattern where it was let's tighten up the records here. If I would have looked at the records again beforehand,
4 and 8, 6 and 6.
I might have called it the other way again because
'Cause
it
the
was
Packers-
like it made more sense for the Packers to lose that one. In this one up here, it kind of makes more sense for the Titans to win. But again, I don't know what division they're in and how
Titans
they're
are
lining
4 and
up.
8. They're not probably playoff contending, but they're going to cover the spread. That's a guarantee.
That's true.
It's 14, so that's the point.
And they're away, so I guess if they're not even in contention,
Now
really.
keep the home team happy, but the gamblers got stiff because they didn't cover the spread.
And the Niners just moved to 10-3, so they'll probably move the Dolphins to 10-3 as well.
The Dolphins will be 10 and 3.
That's kind of my logic there.
See what I mean? The 3 losses were irrelevant. They were to bat against. They should have won those games. You know what I mean? Like suspect. How does
Yeah.
the team go and lose a shit? Because it's all part of this. You got to keep it all close. If these players had it their own way, there'd be too much undefeated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they played the way they wanted, they can't because they're part of the chess. They're just out there told what to do, bro. Be in this position and don't fuck up. Kind of like a marching band. That's how I equate it. Like you got to make the script look good. You got to fucking have everything coordinated. If not, you're gonna look like fools out there.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And they teach them that keep calm, especially when they're interviewing. Holy shit, you gotta act. They gotta pull off a facade.
Yeah, keep looking at the same spot on the ground.
They have
and,
to, though.
And breathe.
That's how they do it.
Keep
I
the
don't
same
blame them.
tone.
They
right?
can't disguise. They can't divulge their secret.
And notice like the people when they're the reporter when they notice they're dealing with somebody who's not like as free flowing and comfortable, they don't challenge them at all. They don't like trying to live up the conversation or trying to like move the body language at all. They just straight question, straight
right,
monotone
'cause they have
answer.
to.
Yep.
That's all it is, bro.
Let
And
me
that's
just
will never change. That's just a-
softball you this underhand, like let me put it on a tee for you.
And even if they have to act tactful.
I mean, yeah, it sounds basic,
It's not.
but the majority, I don't know, maybe not the majority, but a lot of people just don't even notice those little things. Like, that guy's just acting.
Yeah.
He's
It's
been coached to do that.
oh well, that's what they do. And that's fine. We need them sound educated.
Excuse me.
I mean, if not, then what else do we have? That guy is always. Another iPhone.
Yeah, he's in like,
Everything in
he's
full.
kind of like the Taylor Swift of this season. We see him a lot.
He was in the script thing.
Yeah. And like, I think one of his acts is that he's like a magician in some like movie sitcom or something, or TV series.
Yeah. Something strange. There's Scott Van Pelt. These are college football commentators. Interesting. What's Jake the asshole been saying?
Just pretty much the same kind of stream from Mr. Jake. Just making his rigged plays video and his weekly picks video.
But even
Other
he,
than that-
he can't crack the script because it's uncrackable. You can put every scenario about they want this, that team, and this. You fucking gotta know the numbers and you gotta know when, and that's impossible.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, he's doing well in the money line probably, picking straight up. And then he don't do over-unders, just the spread.
Yeah, I think he does this over-under. He doesn't pick outright. He does the over-under and the spread.
I didn't think he did over-unders. I never hear him about, like, I'm taking the over. Does he do over?
Maybe he doesn't.
I thought
I
he
don't
did
know.
the
Maybe
spread
he.
and
Oh,
the
maybe
money.
he only does the spread. and
That's
the money
enough to
line.
keep
I
up
don't
with the
know
over-unders.
exactly.
Do you know how tough the over-unders would be? I get it. You
The
did well on
over-unders.
those.
Yeah.
He was doing well on those. I don't
Sometimes
like
he does well, and sometimes he doesn't. I mean, I think his logic is based, or his process is based on
it. Huh. Look at the top story.
whether he's gonna fade the public or not inside the dangers of gambling addiction. Yeah,
Was I just not talking about that?
yeah, that's exactly what
fucking-
we were
that's
talking
just-
about
that's
today.
just
Did
a
you see the date
statement.
on that? Something in 1921 is what it said that. And then this guy is wearing a Keystone hat.
Gambling recovery.
Dude, all of the stuff that we were just talking about, the pre-1930s, being like a key to the history, the stone on the building that I was telling you earlier, the big stone building.
Jesus. Unbelievable. That's not sports.
Interesting.
That's sports in 5 years they'll be talking about how sports gambling destroyed lives.
Did you see them showing crystals?
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder what that was a reference to.
It's just strange how they're talking about that. Touchdown. There's your,
Uh-oh.
oh.
Titans tied it up. They might go ahead by one here with an extra point kick.
Are the Dolphins going to come marching back? Are they going to come swimming back down the field like they do in victory formation when they score a touchdown?
That's
and they're all
exactly
lining
what
up
they're
like a
gonna
bunch
do.
of whatever they are and celebrating? I don't know. Or will they just turn the ball over right away and the game's over? Like I said, how much gambling's going on right now? How much do they want to shift this narrative?
I was distracted by the news anchor, not this guy, but the other guy. I was like, geez, they must have found him somewhere between Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, because he looks just lifeless and like an old dusty bag. This guy, I think, is that Phil Shrek?
Yeah. Guy's older than the NFL.
Oh, Shrek. His last name is Shrek? Well, fucking Taylor Swift's mama's clone is like Zena Shrek.
The Gypsy Queen.
So that's probably his stage name, and he's probably like a Satanist.
I don't know, man. I'm not. Everybody ain't. But
They
it
can't
sure
all
shit
be in
will.
on it, can they?
Call it like I see it.
I know, right? They can't all be in on it.
Hey,
God dang.
what if Jake's one of those?
This guy.
What if Jake's just one of those like? What if he's in on it?
He might be.
Like what if
His
he's
channel
what if he's one of those like?
controlled ops?
Yeah. What happens? Does he get? Would he get offended if you said that to him? Like, what if you're controlled, man? Who's to say? How can you prove that?
I would say that. Well,
Would
there's
it
no
be-
there's no real pinning him to this, but I would just say that I think your channel is maybe kind of perpetuating the gambling problem, because that's while you're pointing out the scripted part of it is like you're also like making these picks and keeping track of the record.
Because I'm sure
And
people are gambling on his picks.
They
aren't
are,
they?
and some people are making some pretty good
So
cash.
maybe he's getting paid by the DraftKings to like.
Well,
hey,
so maybe his
if you,
channel
for
is
everybody
like-
that bets under that account name, you get a fucking 15, whatever the cut is.
Well, the history of his channel is you go out there and spread some truth, but maybe just kind of mislead them a little bit, kind of perpetuate the flat Earth thing, and
Why would he choose sports gambling as another avenue to expose the truth?
I actually
when
don't
you're
know.
not into sports in the first place. So somebody like me, I've been around it. So maybe he has. I don't know the full story,
right?
but who's to say that's not? But I think he would justify it as like, I'm gonna fucking mute you because I don't want to hear your
Right.
shit.
I just don't want to spend any time answering those questions.
And that's fine, because if somebody said the same thing to me, I'm going to be I don't have time to explain it, but I don't know if that's...
Well, I think that's
if
what you
a
would say.
point.
You'd be like, I don't have time to explain it. It's all documented. Go listen to this stuff.
Yeah.
And if he said something like that, I guess I would be like, well, I guess okay.
Well, shout out for him for spreading the word.
But if it was another streamer that had like an audience, or at least was making content, because you never know, next year we might have more subscribers and followers and all that stuff than he does. At some point it could just wildfire like that.
And that's
But at that point, it's then if that person hops in and like wants to answer a question, I don't know. I don't think it. I've thought about this, Kevin. I don't know I don't think it really matters. I think he probably already knows that I'm a little bit skeptical, but anybody that knows me and my thought process on how I process just information knows that I'm going to be skeptical by the very nature of like how I'm processing the information. That's just a natural part of it, like the skepticism.
But that's the issue. You could be skeptic.
So I'm like, well, what is
what's the point?
the result
What's the ploy?
of someone watching his channel?
Yeah.
What does it change in their behavior, if anything?
Probably just to look at the NFL
And-
differently, like we do, and be like, just be careful what you're watching, because it's a fucking script.
Well,
And he breaks it down to a narrative that makes the most sense as it would make to me, especially if I'm new to the sports betting. I'm like, well, I'm going to follow this guy because it's just like I don't have anybody else to rely on, and he just sounds like he knows what he's... And it makes sense because whatever he's selling, people are buying, and it's working.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to leave it at, because I'm not to criticize somebody else doing something. That's not what I'm trying to convey. I'm just saying it's just... I don't know. I feel like I have the same views I'm just not in his position. Does that make sense? Because I never thought about it from the perspective of he does, but I still do. I just never acted. So,
Here's how I kind of, what I kind of think is happening, like probably pretty close to the reality. Now, if Jake is some form of controlled op, the people that allow this controlled op to happen, like they don't necessarily need him to, like every controlled opposition to push a certain narrative. Like they need to have like the guys who just really do appear legitimate, that are blended into the gray area enough where they can blend into people like you and I, where the people who are setting up controlled opposition know that somebody like you and I is going to come along and do some genuine truth telling. We're basically doing a part of the narrative that's going to occur. So we are kind of contributing to that.
what
Now
if-
they would want somebody in a controlled opposition spot to be in that gray area where it's like where we're skeptical of it. There's nothing we can really like point to and prove to, and even if he is, what does it change about any of what we're doing? Nothing. What does it change about anything that he's doing? Nothing. Even if people know that he was somehow controlled op, it's be like, well, what's he really doing? He's just kind of telling people some truth about the NFL being scripted, the shape of the earth being incorrect, and some of the other narratives
What
and
if
other
he's-
bullshit.
What if they don't? What if they don't like that? Can they just shut him down?
Yeah.
That's freedom of speech taken away.
Oh, yeah, but they just shut your YouTube channel down. Like, if they didn't want him to be there, he wouldn't be there.
That makes sense. Maybe he's put there to be there.
So, it's just kind of like, it's one of those what ifs, and yeah, like what I was kind of describing is, if he is, then that's kind of where the situation is. Like we could probably still collaborate at some point, and no harm, no foul. But then again, maybe not. See, the thing is, what I look for, Kev, is people who are like genuine truthers. They don't care about like losing viewers or sharing viewers or subscribers or this shit and that. They're just like, hey, if I find somebody out there who's putting out solid content, I'm gonna bring them in and create community with them, just like we did with Trevor, where it was like Trevor didn't help us build any of this or set all of this up, but his content and what he's provided has been really helpful and synergistic. So it was like, well, let's just bring him in as a professor so we can cover some of this nutrition avenue, which we want to do anyway.
Yep.
So it's like, you bring in community, and then all of a sudden you got, well, he can do this for us, and we can do this for him. Jake can do this for us, and we can do this for Jake. It's like,
It's like a team.
in my mind, it's like, okay, well, we're in this situation where we can see where there aren't that many people around here that have woken up and see the truth, and but we can see that there are. So our natural result would be to like share and spread the truth and build strength amongst community, strength in numbers. And when I see that not like actively happening, then I'm like, okay, that's a controlled op situation, more than likely.
Well,
Or it's likely that because it doesn't fit the I'm a truther trying to fucking hammer out and save the fucking world information type, like like a messenger of truth would do. And maybe, there's certain levels of people where they're like, how far they're willing to go. Like I got on a level of truth sharing because I was willing to go out into the desert in Arizona and like, I put a lot on the line. I risked all of it. I had my contingency plan. I didn't go all in
contingency.
with no contingency, but
You gotta have three of them.
I went all in with a
Contingency.
contingency plan and it worked out.
You gotta have a contingency plan.
But I think a lot of people, and maybe what I was going to say earlier when we were speaking on the, a lot of people have like they don't want to talk, or they're the best.
Are you talking about public speaking?
Yeah,
Rather
they're the
die
best
than public
speech givers
speak?
in the world,
Absolutely.
but they don't.
No,
One
they're-
thing we run into online too is people don't make comments and they don't chat in live chat for fear of what other people might say in response to them, like try to make them look and feel like they were dumb or they were wrong or something. And it's like, good gosh, we can't even get to a point where we can all just anonymously share information in chats. It's like everybody's just trying to attack it. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all's brains? Are you under some sort of hypnotic spell or something called the English language? I think so. Like, it is down to that level. Like, the English language is spellcraft in itself. So it's like, yeah, even using it, we are kind of like casting spells all the time type of thing.
Well,
But,
the Titans pulled it off.
Yeah. Yep, Titans actually pulled that one off. Sorry, we kind of trailed away from the game there, but we were talking about some more important stuff than who ended up winning the game. But yeah, Titans ended up actually winning that one. So
What an upset.
I went
14-point
0-6 on the night, Kev.
A
That's the first time that's ever happened.
14-point underdog won outright. Think about that.
Yeah.
A 14-point underdog won outright. And
On the
they're
road.
going to say that it's it's fucking any given weekend. This is all this NFL is any given week. You think the Dolphins are out of the playoff hunt? No.
And what did we say
the Dolphins
about
could
the
lose
game
the rest. The
script?
Dolphins could lose the rest of their games and still make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
It doesn't matter if these teams win anymore. It's just they have the numbers exactly where they want them,
Yeah.
exactly where they need them.
That's
and then
right.
next week the Dolphins will win by 40.
And what did we just
The
see?
same Dolphins team won 77-20 back in week 3. How is it possible that they just got beat? Well, it just happened. And
What
that-
did we just see in the one game?
Another one. The last
Second
Yeah.
win. What did we see in that game? Last second win. What did we
At home.
say at the
At
beginning
home.
of the episode?
It was both at home.
These two games are
Marching down the
almost
field.
exactly the same. The
And
score
marching,
was exactly the same.
field goal,
That
walk
score
off,
was exactly the same
a
timing.
walk-off field goal.
It was the same script we saw in both games, basically. Just a slightly different outcome.
I'm sorry.
Now tell me
it was-
that a supercomputer
I'm sorry, that was a
is not-
touchdown at the end, but it was all the
Yeah,
similarities.
yeah. Whether it was a touchdown or a field
And now
goal.
think about that.
Yeah.
In the last 2 minutes, it all shifted for the home team. They came marching back down when they could have realistically
Yeah.
just like said, "All right, we're done, game over." Fumble, kneel the ball down. Everybody, see
Yeah.
how it can shift in just a matter of one little fucking just.
No.
Both games was like
Let's
that.
think about
Both.
this for a second.
Boom.
In the
That's
Green-
2 games that we both saw. Most people only watching one.
In the Green Bay game, had they not missed those 2
Field
field
goals.
goals, we wouldn't have had the same script play out.
No.
And 2, if the Green Bay had made those 2 field goals, then the same exact thing could have played out, except at the end there where Green Bay scored, they wouldn't have scored. There would have been a turnover or something, and then we still would have seen the home team stretch
Yeah.
at the end, whether they needed a touchdown or a field goal.
And it worked.
That's a perfect example of how the supercomputer can run 2
Simultaneously things.
scripts that are almost exactly the same that have slightly different elements.
And they can
to
do
it.
that in every game if they want. Just here's the fucking playbook from 2 Mondays
Yeah.
ago. All we need is a fucking 21-14 score.
Yeah.
Fucking, and then they make it happen. I tell you, man, this season is the goofiest
This is
thing
fucking-
I've ever experienced.
this is
in
some hocus
history,
pocus.
In the history, since this whole gambling came merged together, this whole thing is a hoax. Its whole thing is
Yeah,
a
this is
fucking
like a
fugazi. It's like, how is that possible that
cyber
a
technology
14-point favorite lost?
hoax.
Why? Because it happened
At
And
home, too.
At
Perfect
home.
conditions, no excuse. Like the Titans don't have anybody that's
Titans
like
have nothing to play for. They just like that was their Super Bowl. That was their Titans Super Bowl, and they won. And it's irrelevant to the season. It really is irrelevant. That game is irrelevant because the Chiefs are 2 games back behind the Dolphins. Like the Chiefs are going to be the road team for the playoffs. The Dolphins are going to be a shoo-in, and that's when they're going to bring that 77-20 score back, like they did in Week 3 against the Broncos. So I'm telling you, man, Scoopy, it's got me frustrated, and that's why I'm ready for the season to subsidize and be like, all right, fucking bring on the Super Bowl halftime. Let me see what the fuck's going on. That'll really dictate a lot of things.
Yeah.
We just got to wait for it. So that's Week 14 in the book.
Wow. Yep.
What a chapter that was.
What a night indeed. And now I'm so distracted by what's going on here. Like just booze, 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 music and booze.
Yep. That's a wrap.
Sorry, yeah, just right on to the next thing. Carson Daly at like 60 years old, not looking a day older than 35.
Yeah.
And I can't place like that. I think that chick's either an actor or a politician. Obviously an actor. Actor or politician. That's a funny
Taylor
joke,
Swift
right?
wannabe. Taylor Swift on the cover.
Well, doesn't she look like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but not Sabrina?
No,
Whoever that actor is, she looks like the clone of that person.
She looks suspect to me.
Yeah. Not hiding the Adam's apple that well. Anyway, y'all, you got anything else, Kev? We're at like 3 hours and a half again here. Might be able to let everybody go until next week.
Don't be money laundering.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, we got to sign off with all the
my
proper.
disclosure was that
Everything said on this podcast is a viewer's
is a viewer's opinion,
not
and
the
opinion
expressions
only
of the NSA.
discretion of the National Statistics algorithms.
Yeah,
I am
That's
am at the end of my NFL statistician for the year. So
Oh man,
NFL,
I didn't even get to talk about my Jordans. What a shame.
shave it for next.
Yeah, we'll have to save it till next
Savor.
time.
Right on.
Y'all are in for a treat.
That's all.
All right, signing out, y'all. Take care.
Arigato gozaimasu.